Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Kakashi wants Naruto back part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Naruto stared at the setting sun, sitting on top of the fourth's head, a rather old and worn out scroll in hand. It had been a long and tiresome year. After the attack of Orochimaru, Konoha was left scarred with a decline in the number of shinobis. Many of those who survived were going through intensive healing, and the hospital had never been this full before. The children were actually shaken by the whole event, and even with the new Hokage, it was still painful for the village because they lost a passionate leader as well. The third. Not only did Orochimaru attack them, but Itachi also paid a lovely visit to Konoha and Kakashi, and Sasuke ended up in a coma for quite some time. After that, there was the issue of Sasuke's betrayal. Naruto felt that he could no longer relax, as did Sasuke. But Naruto wasn't as lucky as Sasuke. Sasuke had a teacher, who in turn had Sasuke as his favorite student. Sasuke had someone to teach him his bloodline. Sasuke had everything that Naruto didn't. He had the famous Kopinin. Sure, Naruto had trained with one of the legendary three for quite some time, but that was months ago, ever since he mastered the Rasengan. After that fateful day and him getting knocked out due to too much chakra consumption, he found himself in the hospital, the very scroll in his hand beside him. Jiraiya left to travel for some time, leaving him a note that said he'd come back someday. But it had been nearly 10 months since that incident, and Naruto was giving up hope. The Chunin exams were in 2 days' time, and Naruto did not want to enter. He just didn't think he was ready enough ever since he read the scroll he held in his hand. Sure, he knew the Rasengan. He knew several jutsus. He was good with taijutsu and okay with genjutsu. But it was not enough. He needed more training. But for the sake of his teammates, he'd go far enough for them to go on their own. He'd heard that it was going to be the same as the previous ones due to the lack of shinobis. It wouldn't be that difficult. Naruto held the scroll in his hand up to his face. He opened it once more and began to read it again, even though he had memorized the entire thing by heart already. My dearest son, I dare not imagine what you've been through up to this point. And me apologizing is not enough. But you must understand that as a Hokage, the village and its people comes first above anything else. Please know that in my heart I have always loved you. I couldn't be there for your birthdays or Halloweens or Christmas or graduation, but I am still proud of you. Because you're reading this, that would mean that you are still alive and that you most probably know about Kyuubi. Do not treat the demon as something to be hated, but treasure it as a gift because of all the chakra you can get from him. And I know that someday you'll find a way to control it and overcome it. My surname was originally Uzumaki, but I changed it when I became a shinobi to Kazama, which is why I am known as Kazama Keiru. I gave you my original surname because no one knew of it. No one knows I'm your father except for your mother Konomitsu Hana Jiraiya-sensei, Sarutobi-sensei and Tsunade-san. Not even my favorite student Kakashi knows. And I want it to be kept that way, until you can see the way I saw the village. Until you can learn to forgive the villagers for mistreating you throughout your life and find it in yourself to love the village the way I did. As for what I leave behind, that would be the Rasengan. By the time you get this letter, you would have already mastered it. Below is a list of other types of genjutsus and ninjutsus that I created myself, but my most special and prized one is the Rasengan. The ones below are just to help you out. Moonlight Shadow no Jutsu. Kiss of the Phoenix no Jutsu. Ice Barrier no Jutsu. Time Warp no Jutsu. Mind Force no Jutsu. Understand that these jutsus have been used on people who never lived to tell the tale about it. So use them wisely. Unless you can come up with a jutsu to counter clan abilities of those in Konoha, then I guess you'd be free to use them whenever you want. I was working on a jutsu to protect those I have, but I haven't completed them yet. I called it the copyright jutsu, and the title serves its purpose. I've left the details on it below. If you can find a way to complete it, so much the better. I've left all that I have. All I can suggest to you is that you master a style of taijutsu that will benefit you, or come up with your own and try to gain high-speed movement. There are some things that require a teacher and a team, and some things you have to do on your own. And sometimes, speed can be your advantage in battle. My dear son, know that I'd give up anything to be with you now. But it just doesn't work that way. But I want you to know that I am proud of you to have reached this far. You are my son, and no demon or any of those things is going to change that. I love you, and I always will, and your mother too. She was so happy when she got pregnant. She loves you so much, Naruto. Never forget that. Never forget us. And just to remind you that we are always here for you, keep the ring attached to this scroll. You don't have to be lonely anymore. Love from your father. Uzumaki Keiru. Naruto's eyes threatened to spill the gathering tears. He had started working on his taijutsu by asking some help from Guy and Lee, who were most happy to help him out. He and Lee would spar together often, and although Naruto still had some flaws on his taijutsu, Lee was always there to support him and Guy to guide him. It took him 9 months to master everything he needed to know about Guy's taijutsu technique, and like Lee, he opted on wearing weights around his shins, which lay hidden behind loose black pants that replaced his orange hip-hops. He and Lee were becoming the best of friends. During the war with Orochimaru, Lee had lost his parents and was orphaned, so Guy resigned his position as a genin instructor and became Lee's legal guardian. Naruto sucked in a shaky breath and a tear escaped his eye. He heard footsteps behind him, which stopped once the person or people were a good 3 feet away from him. "Naruto? You ditched training today to enjoy the view?" Sakura snapped. Naruto quickly wiped at his eyes and then stood on his feet, casually dusting his clothes clean. "You've been here all this time, Dobe?" Sasuke asked, narrowing his eyes at him. "Yeah. Sorry," Naruto grumbled. "Just to let you know, Naruto, that just because the Chunin exams are coming, doesn't mean you should forget about teamwork," Kakashi pointed out, and Naruto gave him a nod. "What's that?" Sakura asked, looking at the worn-out scroll Naruto had in his hand. Thinking that it was some sort of historical information, Sakura grew interested. "Let me see." Naruto's eyes widened a bit, and he took a step back, hiding the scroll behind his back, afraid that Sakura, Sasuke, or Kakashi might see its contents. "Oh geez, Naruto. It's an old scroll. Give it here." Sakura tried to grab it from Naruto, and when she got her grasp on it, Naruto panicked. "Get off!" he yelled and pushed Sakura away hard. Sakura landed on the ground and stared at Naruto with wide eyes. Naruto blinked and took a step back. "Naruto," Kakashi warned. "That was not necessary." Sakura got up and began to dust her clothes. "Sheesh. Keep your crappy little scroll to yourself then. Who'd want to read a old and mangled scroll anyway?" Sakura said, angry for being shoved to the ground. Sasuke rolled his eyes. Kakashi watched as Naruto stared at the scroll in his hand and how his lips trembled. "You'll never understand," he whispered and then turned to leave. "I'm not coming to training tomorrow, sensei. I'm not feeling well." "Chunin exams are near, Dobe," Sasuke warned him. "I'll be fine by then. Besides, I have 2 days to rest anyway. I'll show up, don't you guys worry." He turned and began to walk away. "Good night." He waved and then disappeared down the path that led to the heart of the city. Naruto reached his apartment and locked the doors. He took a shower and went straight to bed, scroll tucked beside him. He reached out for the black cord around his neck and pulled out the necklace Tsunade had given him and stared at the ring that he'd added as a pendant. He stared at the silver ring that his father wore as an Uzumaki heirloom. It must have been fate or something, but the Uzumaki symbol was a spiral pattern. Naruto smiled and tucked the ring and chain under his shirt and went to sleep, not feeling so cold and alone anymore. The next day, he went to the woods and did some taijutsu training and practiced some basic jutsus. After that, he did several laps around Konoha and some more taijutsu. Just before sunset, he sat on the fourth's head and stared at his locket. The same thing happened the next day, until the day of the Chunin exams arrived. Naruto entered the building and found Sasuke and Sakura waiting for him, Kakashi standing behind them reading a copy of Ika Ika Paradise. "You're late," Kakashi said, closing his book. "Sorry," Naruto mumbled. They made their way to the exam room and Kakashi bid them good luck. There weren't many taking the Chunin exam, not like the last time at least. But there was a generous number of people. It really was pretty much the same. Ibiki was the head examiner, and they pretty much had to do the same as what they did the last time, only this time there were 19 questions instead of 9, and the time limit was just 45 minutes instead of 1 hour. Like before, the last question was revealed in the last few minutes. Those who were new to the exam quit immediately. But what came as a surprise was that the papers were checked and those with blank papers, even though they agreed to take the question, were failed immediately. Naruto wasn't stupid. He had studied several books and scrolls from the school library and asked Irika to tutor him in several things. So he managed to answer 11 questions, hence he was not disqualified. Anko made her grand entrance and told them to come to the Forest of Death the next morning. Nothing was different from this level from the one in the previous exam, except they had only 3 days to get to the tower instead of 5. Naruto made a suggestion to attack the closest team, use everything they had, get the scroll and get it over and done with. Surprisingly, they got lucky that the team they attacked had the other scroll and that they were rookies from the grass village. They were the 5th ones out of the 14 teams to arrive at the tower. Naruto was in his own world completely. He was so busy staring at the moon that he didn't even realize Sasuke approached him. "What's with you, Dobe?" Huh? What's what? Naruto blinked. Ugh. What's wrong with you? Sasuke snapped. Nothing. You want something to be wrong with me or what? Naruto asked. I was just asking. Sasuke snapped again. Naruto stared at the ground. No need to shout, Sasuke. I'm not deaf, he said softly. Sasuke sighed. Look, can you just stop being weird? If you don't, I'm telling Kakashi-sensei. Yeah? Sure. Naruto said, and sighed. Go tell Kakashi-sensei if you want. I don't think he'd care anyway. He's got you to fuss about. Sasuke blinked. Just then, an elite chunin led them to a waiting room where they were offered food and drink and a place to sleep if they felt very tired. Naruto took the opportunity and immediately went to sleep. When he woke up, the second part of exam was over and it was time for the preliminaries. Sakura went first and fought against Tenten and she won. Then came Neji with some Mist Ninja. 3 matches after Neji, Sasuke went next against the Grass Nin and it was no surprise that he won the match. 2 matches later, Naruto was next and he was against Kiba again. Kiba landed on hard punch on Naruto's jawline that sent Naruto flying several feet back. He didn't even bother to dodge it. He got up, a bit phased from the punch and gave Kiba a sincere smile. Nice punch, Kiba. It really hurt. He whispered and faced the examiner. I give up. What? Sakura and Sasuke yelled in chorus. What on earth? Kakashi mumbled. Naruto looked up at his teammates and teacher. He gave them a small smile before shoving his hands into his pocket. Without another word, Naruto left the arena and headed outside, ignoring all of Sakura's calls and Kakashi's orders. He didn't want to deal with any of them yet. They'd do fine in the second round because Sasuke and Sakura had improved greatly and Naruto knew that they'd be chunins by the time the exam was over. He'd deal with Kakashi later, but just not now. He went directly to the fourth's head and sat there again. His cheek hurt. A presence made itself known to him. Naruto. Ero-sennin. Naruto greeted. You're back. You quit? Yeah. Why? I felt like it. I see. Jiraiya sighed. I've been here for 3 days. I'll be leaving again soon. Come, let's get that cheek of yours fixed and have dinner. Ramen, right? Your treat? Sure, Jiraiya said and ruffled Naruto's hair. Naruto had some sort of healing balm applied on his cheek and the bruise slowly began to fade. They were seated at the Ichiraku, wafts of steam rising from the bowls in front of them. Naruto stared at his bowl, every once in a while blowing the steam away to let it cool down, chopsticks poised in his right hand. How have you been? He asked, not bothering to look at the Sennin beside him. All right. I've written 6 books that are now on their way to stores nationwide, Jiraiya said proudly. I'll be going out again to stay in Earth Country and after that Lightning Country for a while. Maybe a year or 2, or perhaps more. Depends though. One has got to keep their business in check, right? Yeah, Naruto said, smiling up at him. You do that. Naruto went back to eating his ramen. Jiraiya stared at the kid before him, and his eyebrows knitted together. Naruto, you've changed. I've been getting that a lot. Naruto mumbled through a mouthful of noodles. Because you make it obvious, Jiraiya said. It can alert people and make them concerned. Last time I checked, no one cared, Naruto said and took a sip of his tea. I'm tired of hiding. I'm tired of acting happy all the time. I'm tired of being called an idiot and being looked at as if I'm some sort of. Naruto stopped and shook his head. I want to be like him. Jiraiya understood what Naruto meant perfectly. Naruto had been forced to wear a mask of happiness. The person before him was the one without the mask. He looked older than his age and his eyes reflected things that a child his age shouldn't have witnessed or have gone through even for a shinobi. Gone was the carefree look that he usually wore. Now, he was just someone who was hurting deeply. Jiraiya found himself not able to stand such a sight. Even as a container of the Kyuubi, he did not think it was fair for anyone to go through what Naruto had gone through. Your father liked miso ramen too. Fell in love with Hana because of her ramen. Well, at least that's what he told me. It caught Naruto's attention completely. The boy turned to face him, eyes wide and suddenly glowing with happiness. Really? He liked miso ramen too? Yup. With a passion. I guess your love for ramen came from him, Jiraiya said and rubbed his chin. And his stubbornness. And his I'm not giving up attitude. Jiraiya ruffled Naruto's hair. You're a chibi version of your father actually. Except maybe for your hair. It may be blonde like his, But it's not as wild and stiff. And the shape of your eyes, face, and nose came from your mother. Yes, definitely your mother. Naruto was looking up at him with an odd expression. Can you tell me more? Jiraiya smiled. He pulled out some cash and paid for the ramen, before motioning for Naruto to follow him to the Hokage monument. They sat there, Naruto with an ice cream cone that Jiraiya had got him on the way. They sat on the forest head and stared out at the evening life of Konoha. Was he smart? Naruto asked. Very. You wouldn't believe what a smart ass he was. And your mom was his match, Jiraiya said and gave out a hearty laugh. Let me tell you what happened when your father first fell for your mom. Jiraiya rubbed his chin. He saw her teaching at the academy when he was doing his rounds. Your mother was a pretty woman. Long auburn hair and dark eyes. Good figure, of course. Naruto gave Jiraiya the look. She was instructing the children who had gone wild in the classroom. She somehow got fed up with the whole affair and failed to notice the Hokage by the classroom door. Hence, when she flung a book to get one of the children sitting beside the door, it hit him squarely on the face. It had been a scandal, and your mother became a bit famous for being the first one to hit the Hokage. It was unintentional, but it caused a riot. Kaoru was teased mercilessly by his friends and by me, of course. In concern, Hana had rushed up to him and checked if he was okay. I don't believe it was love and first sight or any of those cheesy things, but they got along after that. I think it was Hana's invitation to ramen that triggered it. Jiraiya bit his lip. Yeah, it was definitely the ramen. Naruto was still looking at Jiraiya with an odd expression in his face. Jiraiya ruffled his hair. It's getting late, kid. Get some sleep. Naruto suddenly lost his happy expression. You're leaving again, right? Jiraiya swallowed and nodded. Yeah. When? Tomorrow morning at 9. Jiraiya answered and noted how blue eyes stared at him with a begging look. See, can I go with you? Naruto's lips trembled. Why, you don't have to train me if you don't want to. I have to master the jutsus my father left me anyway, and it will take some time. I won't be a bother. I promise. Naruto dipped his head. Jay, just don't leave me here. Take me with you. Jiraiya cursed the villagers for giving the boy a hard time. He could bet his cash that his teammates were not that nice to him either. And of course, Kakashi was most probably bowing to the Uchiha brat. Jiraiya could not find it in himself to refuse the boy. Kaoru would not have wanted that. Just make sure you're at the gates by 9 tomorrow, alright? Pack the things that you need. We'll be gone for a long time. And don't be late. Naruto looked at him and smiled. I won't. I'll tell Tsunade that you're coming with me, Jiraiya said. Okay. Now go get some sleep. We've got a long day ahead of us tomorrow. Right. Once Naruto got home, he began to clean up the house. He emptied the fridge and took the garbage out. He placed his clothes neatly in the closet and packed the things that he needed the most. When he was done, he placed his backpack in the living room and readied the clothes he'd wear for traveling: black baggy pants, a black t-shirt, and his other clean orange jacket. Satisfied, he set the alarm and went to bed. He had a long day ahead of him tomorrow. The next morning, he woke up before the alarm sounded. He took a shower, dressed, had some breakfast, and then got ready to leave his apartment. Sandals on and backpack strapped on his back, Naruto gave his home one last long look. This was where he had lived all his life, where every crack on the wall was a memory of how he vented out his frustration and anger. This was where he cried himself to sleep and where he stayed safe from the angry gazes of the villagers. Naruto wasn't leaving permanently, but he would be gone for a long time. The funny thing was, he wasn't going to miss it. What was he going to miss? Irika, definitely. Sakura? He didn't think so, not the punches and yelling, not to mention the bitching at least. Sasuke? Maybe, but not very much. Kakashi? Maybe. Naruto pondered on it for a while. Yes, he decided. He would miss Kakashi. Even though he didn't really give Naruto very much attention, he was still there for him more or less. He tore his gaze away from his house and headed for the door, only to feel a familiar presence outside. He opened the door and found Kakashi ready to knock. Sensei, he said, looking up at the tall masked Jounin. I came to tell you that there will be no training today. Sakura and Sasuke are taking the day off to rest. Kakashi took a long look at the backpack behind Naruto, and how full and heavy looking it was. What are you up to now, Naruto? He asked, sighing. Naruto walked past Kakashi and locked the door. I'm going with Ero-sennin. What for? Kakashi asked, suddenly worried. I won't be training Sasuke for some time now. I've taught him all he needs to know about the Sharingan. Sakura is training with her father. I actually came here to give you some training. Naruto gritted his teeth. After what? He snapped. He suddenly winced and took a step back. Kakashi narrowed his eyes at him. After what? Kakashi repeated. He was offended and definitely felt hurt. Naruto swallowed. I'm sorry. I'm not entirely in a good mood. I must have woken up on the wrong side of the bed. Forgive my rudeness. What do you mean, after what? I don't think I'm getting the full picture here. Just forget it, alright, sensei? Could you do that for me? Please? Just this once, he said, and checked if he locked the door right. I have to go. I don't want to be late for Ero-sennin. I don't want to be left behind. Why did you quit the Chunin exams? Kakashi suddenly asked. Naruto remained silent for a while. Then he gave him an answer. Because I felt like it. You felt like it? Kakashi repeated. What kind of a reason is that? It's good enough, Naruto said. I have to go. Naruto turned and began to walk away, when Kakashi's hand planted itself firmly on his shoulder. Why are you leaving? Please tell me that at least, Kakashi said, voice husky and deep all of a sudden. Naruto jerked out of his grasp and gave him a strong hug. And Naruto? You may have not liked me the way you did Sasuke and Sakura. But just to let you know, I will miss you. Naruto whispered, and without another word, he released his hold on Kakashi and darted off down the street towards the gate, leaving a baffled and shocked Jounin. On his way to the gates, he stopped by at Iruka's, bid him goodbye and promised to write. Naruto reached the gates and found Jiraiya waiting for him. Naruto took one good look at the Konoha, and turned his head away, not the least bit perturbed as the gates closed with a loud booming sound. Today was the start of a new chapter in his life. And he was looking forward to it. Iruka flipped through his mail excitedly until he found it. A letter amongst all the bills and staff memos. He looked at the address and shook his head. So he was now in Lightning Country. He ripped the envelope open and unfolded the paper to read its contents. Hey Iruka-sensei. I just turned 18 1 week ago. Ero-sennin got me this cake and a new jacket since the old gray one got ripped up pretty badly when he threw me off a cliff. Oh my God! Iruka gasped and quickly clamped his hand over his mouth and met the gaze of everyone in the staff room who had their eyebrows raised at him. Iruka grinned sheepishly. Ahaha! A complaint. He waved the letter. The staff rolled their eyes and went back to their business. Iruka grabbed his coffee mug, took a long swig and then headed for the playground of the academy. 3 years ago, the Chunin exam took place in Earth Country. Jiraiya requested teammates so that Naruto could enter the Chunin exams. Tsunade easily sorted it out, and when the two genins returned to Konoha, they had Naruto as their personal hero and idol. News spread like wildfire, and this made the entire village wonder. Was the boy really that good? Iruka shook his head from his stroll down memory lane and continued to read the letter. You most probably gaped at that. I swear, Iruka-sensei, you can be such a mother hen at times. Well, I never. Iruka huffed, and then continued to read. Boy, have I got stuff for you when I come back. I have completed my invention of another jutsu. I call it Phoenix Wings. It's great. And oh so destructive. When I completed it, I accidentally dried out an entire lake when we stopped in the water country for a few nights. Ero-sennin was so totally freaked out, and he was actually impressed. Too impressed. He even got me a new pair of pajamas. By the way, this guy has got cash, man. His Ica Paradise series are so popular in the earth, water and even lightning countries. Geez, you wouldn't believe the number of perverts there are in this world. It makes one wonder. Oh, I bet. Iruka grumbled. Well, not much going on here in the Lightning Country. They are pretty famous for their kimonos here because of the silk and cotton. Fantastic bargains. I myself need a new wardrobe, which I carry around on my back by the way, since most of my clothes are already small or short. I told you in my previous letter that I've grown tall. Well, Ero-sennin says that I'll probably gain another 3 or 4 inches before stopping. I've got a little ponytail now and Ero-sennin says that he inspires me. I don't even want to bring myself close to anything that he likes. No way. I got bruised pretty badly last time he was caught peeping into the woman's bath. Iruka cringed. Oh Naruto. Anyway, I've learned several new genjutsus and I know I told you that before, but well, I'm telling you again anyway. I also devoted a great amount of time in learning how to use a sword. There are many books here on historical techniques and stuff. I've met some samurais here and they were more than happy to give me a few pointers. Now, after a long period of time, years I mean, I think I'm pretty good with the sword or swords. I can use doubles now. Ero-sennin said that it would come in handy and even offered to spar with me several times. Heh. I beat him. Cool, huh? I'm in a hurry writing this letter. Still have to clean the little apartment we will be staying in. I don't know when we'll come back to Konoha. Erosenin still has a lot of work to do here. But please don't be sad, sensei. I know you're a total sap when it comes to the end of my letters. And don't you deny it. But I will come home. Soon. I just don't know when. But don't you worry. I'm okay. I have one of the 3 senins with me anyway. Plus, I don't think it would be very nice if I just died now, right? Remember, I still want to be the Hokage. And when I come home, I'll make you proud. Just you remember that. Always. Naruto. P.S. Please send my regards to Kakashi-sensei and Basan. Iruka folded the paper and stared at the afternoon sky. It was cloudless, an endless blue with flocks of birds flying across its heavenly plains. Iruka felt happy, having heard from Naruto again. Naruto usually wrote to him every month and sometimes twice a month, other times once every 2 or 3 months. He couldn't stop worrying about the boy no matter how many times he told himself that he had Jiraiya with him. It was just a bit difficult since he was so attached to the boy. Iruka tucked the letter into his pocket and decided to go back to the staff room. On his way, he found Kakashi talking to Asuma, who was laughing. He debated on whether to pass Naruto's message on to him or do it some other time. He did not want to intrude on the conversation just to say that his student said hi. Before Iruka could make a decision, Kakashi caught him staring in his direction and gave Asuma a pat on the shoulder, excusing himself. Something wrong, Iruka-sensei? He asked. No, nothing at all. You didn't need to cut the conversation, Iruka said, looking at Asuma, who was now talking to Guy. No worries, Kakashi said. I was just passing a message from the Hokage to him anyway. Iruka wondered why Kakashi was laughing. What could be so funny about a message from the Hokage? Anyway, I just wanted to pass Naruto's regards to you. Kakashi suddenly stiffened and slowly turned his face to Iruka. Naruto? It was actually the first time Naruto ever requested such a thing. For the past 5 years, going on 6, he never mentioned anyone worth saying hello to other than the Hokage herself, and Iruka had dutifully passed on every greeting to Tsunade. He wasn't very surprised about it, and just shrugged it off. But Kakashi was most definitely surprised. Not even the mask hid that. Yes. He sends his greetings, Iruka repeated. He wrote to you? Kakashi asked, raising an eyebrow. Yes. Since when? Kakashi asked, now baffled. His eyes were a bit narrowed and Iruka wondered what was wrong with him. Since he left Kakashi-sensei, Iruka said, and watched Kakashi carefully. His shoulders had slumped forward just a bit. His eyes were filled with sadness all of a sudden. He never sent me word. I didn't even know where he went, Kakashi said. He's in the Lightning Country now, Iruka said. As for him not sending word to you, ever stop to think why? I've got one reason, and knowing Naruto, that's most probably it. My guess, I mean. Oh? What's that? You never paid attention to him, Kakashi-sensei. You gave Sasuke more importance than him. Even Sakura. Kakashi's hand balled into a fist. I have to go. I've done my homework. Good day, Kakashi-sensei. Iruka entered his classroom to start the 6th period. Kakashi had reacted strongly. Iruka told himself that Kakashi was just hurt or concerned for Naruto since he left like he did. But something at the back of Iruka's head told him that Kakashi was jealous of him because Naruto kept in touch with only him. Take out your data scroll and tell me about chakra circulation. Briefly. Yes, Kai? Iruka called out to a student. Kakashi stared at the night sky, watching the stars flicker in blue-black velvet. He asked himself several times whether he had been a good teacher. After Team 7's disbandment, he never took another team. Sakura was now training to be a medical profession and hoped to join the Hunter Nin unit of Konoha. Sasuke wanted to be ANBU and Kakashi knew that Sasuke would make it through. But had he really been a good teacher? He felt horrible about Naruto's departure. He had not seen the kid in 5 years and never heard a word from him. Then all of a sudden, he found out that there was someone in the village who was keeping contact with the blonde boy and he never knew. And what hurt the most was that it had been going on since the day Naruto left. Was he really that horrible of a teacher? Iruka seemed to think so, or at least that's what his comment meant if one removed the layers of politeness and decency in it. It just gave a big, plain you suck message. Was I really that bad? Kakashi asked the stars for the 10th time that evening. He was now an active jounin, accomplishing missions to bring income to the village. Even after 5 years, they were still short on shinobi. Kakashi was offered to another team, but he declined and served Konoha's needs instead. It had been a tiresome 5 years for him: assassinations, infiltrations, protection duty, gate watch, academy substitutions, the list just went on. Every night was the same. He'd come home to an empty house, and the next day the same mundane routine would begin again. There was no energy, no life, no spark, no Naruto. There wasn't anyone to laugh with, or to listen to silly little things, little fights, little excited chatter. Kakashi sighed. He missed his student dearly. He could still remember that day when Naruto left, and the words he'd said. The hug had been the final touch. After Naruto released him from that 30-second hug, Kakashi suddenly felt paralyzed. It was his words that struck him. Even if he didn't like him like Sasuke, he'd still miss him? Kakashi then realized that he had been neglecting Naruto all the time. It hurt his pride as a teacher and mentor, and he refused to believe it, but it was true. He always paid attention to Sasuke and occasionally Sakura. But he never gave Naruto the same amount of attention he gave them. And when he realized this fine point in the full 5 minutes that he remained standing like a statue outside Naruto's apartment, it was already too late. Even with his speed, he couldn't reach the gates in time to apologize to Naruto. And he never forgave himself. Was that how Naruto felt the whole time he was on the team? Yet he listened to Kakashi whenever the Jounin spoke to him, gave him his full attention. Oh God! Kakashi whispered and brought a hand to his face. How could I have been so blind? He remembered the times when Naruto asked him to train him in his usual loud and boisterous way. Then, as time went by, his voice got softer and softer until he completely stopped asking. And this was after Jiraiya left for another long period of time. Kakashi heard of Naruto getting knocked out from training and did go and visit him in the hospital because Sasuke had been there too due to a minor hand injury. He had asked about Naruto's condition and the nurses told him that it was just fatigue and overwork. Kakashi peeked into his room, found the boy asleep and then left. He didn't bother to go check on him up close, he didn't even ask how the boy felt when he got out of the hospital. Naruto had become completely withdrawn after he woke up from that 4-day sleep at the hospital. And he never noticed. Kakashi gave out another long sigh. There were times when he looked at Naruto, he would see his deceased mentor due to the blonde hair and the blue eyes. He told himself that he was just another blonde and blue-eyed boy from the village because his best friend never had a son. If he did, Kakashi would have known. He would have told him. He rubbed his neck and stared at the lights glowing from the city. Sitting on top of the Hokage monument gave him peace and cleared his thoughts. But for 5 years, it has not been working. He couldn't sort his thoughts on Naruto out. The boy plagued his mind during day and night, and even when he was asleep. He would see Naruto standing in front of him, dressed in his orange jumpsuit, and then suddenly he would just turn and walk away, and no matter how many times Kakashi called out to him, Naruto would just keep walking away. Then Kakashi would suddenly be soaked in blood and then he'd wake up with a very painful chest. He asked himself what it meant, but he couldn't comprehend it at all. Kakashi wrapped his arms around himself and looked at the sky once more. He made a vow to himself. When Naruto came back, the first thing he was going to do was apologize. It was several months later that Naruto wrote to him. He sent him New Year's greetings and a pack of delicious pastries that were so famous in the Lightning Country. After that, Kakashi did not hear from him again. We're here, Jiraiya announced, looking up at the gates of Konoha. Good to be home, any? Jiraiya turned to find a 20-year-old young man staring at the gates blankly, lips set in a taut line of seriousness, eyes narrowed slightly as if he were frowning. But Jiraiya knew that this was not so. Then again, he didn't know what kind of feelings Naruto was currently feeling. Anger? Annoyance? Sadness? Grief? Guilt? Happiness? It could have been anything, but Naruto merely gave him a nod and waited for him to lead the way. Jiraiya would be lying his pants off if he said that Naruto hadn't changed. Naruto had changed dramatically and he was becoming more and more concerned. Naruto was never like this until he hit the age of 19. Till then, he was usually his happy-go-lucky self, always smiling and always laughing at jokes. Heck, he even pulled pranks on Jiraiya faster than anyone can say ramen. But after that incident, the gates of Konoha groaned open and a female shinobi greeted them with a bow. The Hokage is expecting you, Jiraiya-sama. She turned to Naruto and blinked, eyes widening. Naruto turned to look at her, eyes still carefully masked of any emotion, and gave her a nod in greeting. The female ninja gave a little blush before ushering them into the village. She gave them another welcome back comment and gave Naruto a shy smile. Naruto merely looked at her and acknowledged her greeting by giving her another nod. Let's go, Jiraiya said, and they both jumped on the nearest roof and made their way to the Hokage's office. The door was already open when they reached Tsunade's office. She was pouring some drinks into a glass when they stepped into the empty office. Welcome back, she said with her back turned to them. She motioned with her hand for them to take a seat. I am assuming your trip was an uneventful one. We came fast. Didn't want any troubles, Jiraiya said. Tsunade turned her honey-colored eyes to Naruto, and a light sigh of sadness and a little bit of guilt flooded her. Hello, Naruto. How have you been? I'm fine, thank you. And yourself? He answered, voice deep and at the same time soft. It was no longer the squeaky and loud voice that the entire village knew, but was instead had a rather quiet and withdrawn tone. I've seen better days. Hokage work is too much. Tsunade waited for Naruto to rebuke her for saying such a thing about being a Hokage, but she got none. Instead, she only received a slight nod from Naruto as a reply. It is part of the job, I guess, he said, blue eyes staring directly into her honey-colored ones, piercing and burning. The gaze was so intense that Tsunade had to look away. Jiraiya gave Tsunade a look that only she understood. She gave Naruto a smile and patted his shoulder before enveloping him in a hug and placing a kiss on his cheek. You must be very tired. Iruka knows you are coming today, and he took care of your apartment while you were gone. He's probably waiting for you back at your place. Get some rest, Naruto. We'll talk tomorrow when you're well rested and refreshed, All right, Naruto said, standing up and picking up his traveling bag. He hoisted it onto his shoulder and gave Jiraiya a nod. He then looked at Tsunade and his lips curved into a very, very small smile. That little lift at the corner of his lips made all the difference in the world to Tsunade. For a fleeting moment, Naruto looked younger, like he had a good life and had no troubles. Then it was gone. It's good to see you again, Basan. In a puff of smoke, Naruto was gone. Tsunade clenched her shaking hands into fists. It felt good to hear the nickname that she longed to hear in Naruto's absence from the village. What happened, Jiraiya? What happened to him? Jiraiya stood up and walked towards the window, glaring at the evening sky. Akatsuki is active again. Naruto jumped from roof to roof, making the guards on duty turn heads and look upon his moving figure. Naruto was in no hurry to get home just yet. If Iruka was indeed waiting for him, then he didn't really need to get there as fast as possible. He did not know how to react when he saw the smiling face of his former sensei, or how he would answer the barrage of questions that Iruka would definitely shower him with. He did not know how he'd react to his babying. He did not know how long he would be able to keep a straight face. Naruto lived in a constant paranoia that what he said would actually come true. Before he knew it, he reached his doorstep. It was the same wooden door, only it was now painted white instead of the teal green it once was. The entire building was renovated and repaired. Naruto didn't really care. He took out his key and unlocked the door, stepping into the dimly lit living room. Everything was sparkling clean, and he knew Iruka must have done this. One thing about Iruka Naruto remembered very clearly was that he was a neat freak. He set his heavy traveling bag by the door and kicked his sandals off, climbing the single step and walking across the parquet floor. His eyes scanned his surroundings and took note that Iruka had been taking care of his plants too. A smile began to pull at his lips, and then he felt it. The familiar and comforting presence of his sensei standing behind him, in a rage of emotions, silent but loud. The smile quickly came off his lips and he turned to face the waiting teacher. Upon looking at the familiar face, the feather duster ponytail, the scarred nose, and the glistening eyes with tears threatening to spill, Naruto couldn't help but feel fear creep up in him. The paranoia he lived in every day came at him full blast, and it took all his might to try to look composed because he was starting to panic in his head. Warning bells of leave now were sounding loudly in the hollows of his mind. Naruto. Iruka spoke, stepping up towards the frozen young man. Welcome home. Naruto trembled. He wanted this. He wanted to feel the caring presence of his teacher, but he couldn't. Everything around him was starting to twist and swirl into black, and then he saw him with his bleeding red eyes and shadow-covered face. Naruto? One day, you will have to make a decision. To sacrifice your loved ones or to give yourself up to me. And that time, Naruto, is not very far off. Just you wait and see. You will hate living and you will hate dreaming. And you will remember what I said and you will just run. Run like a coward and put shame to your father's grave. And carry the guilt of not protecting those you care for the most. Naruto looked up to answer Iruka, and almost immediately, he felt a longing so deep to just reach out and hug his former teacher or maybe even jump on his back like he used to years ago. He clenched his fists and closed his eyes, images of his past memory flashing before his closed lids. Iruka patting his back when he choked on his ramen, Iruka ruffling his hair, Iruka carrying him on his back when he fell asleep after training, Iruka whacking him on the head during classes before he became a genin, Iruka brining him a birthday cake, Iruka handing him New Year's parcels and treats and more. His chest began to ache with the feeling that he had suppressed ever since he. Iruka's worried voice cut through his reminiscing like a hot knife. Naruto? Are you alright? Naruto did not move from his spot. Since he left, he had missed Iruka the most. Iruka was the only person who gave him his undivided attention and care and devoted all his free time to him, even if it meant helping him train. Iruka was always there for him. Iruka cared for him. And it frightened Naruto to no end that if anything should happen, Iruka would be the first to become his enemy's target. Iruka would be the first to die. Sorry. He mumbled, then he lifted his chin up and looked at Iruka, eyes filled with longing to feel the brotherly air around him once more. For the first time in a long time, he felt sadness consume him so deeply. Just the thought of losing his teacher made him feel like falling into an unending black pit of paranoia. Oh Naruto. Iruka sighed and approached him in 3 long strides, wrapping his arms around Naruto and pulling him in for a hug. Don't be sorry. I don't think less of you or anything. A slight chuckle escaped Iruka's throat. I'm just so happy to see you again. Naruto bit his lower lip. And then suddenly it was all too much for him to bear. For years, he dared not cry in front of anyone for reasons in which his loneliness played a big part. Ever since he left, he lived a life like that of an S-ranked criminal, until once, just once, those who chased him finally reached him, only to mark his mind so deeply with an ever-blooming fear that grew and grew over the years. For the first time ever, Naruto shut his eyes tightly and bit his lower lip hard enough to draw blood, all in hope of not having his tears escape his closed lids and to keep the sobs that was now racking his whole frame from flowing out of his lips. Jiraiya turned to look at Tsunade seriously. He told him something. And I do not know what it is. Like I mentioned in my letters, Naruto was taken for exactly 6 hours and he was returned physically unharmed. Tsunade frowned. But he was different since then. I have tried in more ways than one to know what happened in those 6 hours Itachi had his filthy hands on Naruto, but… Tsunade cursed under his breath. He wouldn't tell you. No. Jiraiya turned to look at the Hokage mountain carvings once more. But his performance has improved drastically. If you ask me, he is the best person to go after Itachi. He stands a higher chance of killing the man than the other Uchiha. Seriously? Tsunade looked at Jiraiya. Alone? Alone, yes. But I would rather he had someone else with him. He would make a fine hunter. Jiraiya turned to look at her. He should be one. He can be one if he wants to be one. Tsunade rubbed her temples. I will offer him the position. He will accept it, Jiraiya said. What makes you so sure? Tsunade frowned. Because that is what he's been training for ever since Itachi took him. Jiraiya merely smiled before turning around and looking at the horizon once more. Naruto had surprised Iruka by breaking down completely before him. Naruto knew that Iruka had not been expecting him and had been extremely surprised. But he felt a comfort so strong that he had not felt in years. Now, as he lay there on his bed, watching the day sky from his window while Iruka prepared to leave for his classes that morning, he couldn't help but feel truly at home for the first time in a long time. He had berated himself for doubting the feeling of comfort that he'd get once he returned to Konoha, and now, he felt warm all over. He heard the sound of someone knocking on his front door, and it being opened. Then came a very flustered Iruka saying, "Ah. Go dame. I was not expecting you." Naruto felt a smile tug at his lips as he heard Iruka struggle to face the Hokage in his disheveled state. He was shirtless and had his hair down. No worries, Iruka. I just need to speak with Naruto, Tsunade said. Naruto closed his eyes as heard the door to his bedroom open. I want you to serve Konoha as a hunter, she said, once she had closed the door behind her. Direct as usual. Naruto sat up from his bed, the covers falling to reveal his shirtless form. He turned his blue eyes at Tsunade and looked at her for a moment. Jiraiya told you. He did. Naruto narrowed his eyes at Tsunade's words. He also told me that you wouldn't tell him what happened. The look intensified. Are you going to tell me? Naruto turned his head away to look at the window. No. Just as I thought, Tsunade said, feeling a bit hurt, but she pushed it aside. Do you accept the offer? You know I will, Naruto answered, pushing the covers aside and standing up. Tsunade nodded and turned, reaching for the doorknob. Before you start, I just have one more question. Naruto flicked his eyes towards her. How far are you willing to go for the village's safety? Naruto did not hesitate to answer. I'd die for Konoha. Tsunade nodded and turned the doorknob, taking a step outside. Come to my office tonight. You will get your first mission, and I will also brief you of how things are meant to be, now that you've accepted such a responsibility. I'll be there. Then Tsunade was gone, and Naruto was filled with determination that he did not feel in a long time. Naruto showered and changed into fresh clothes and spent the rest of the day at home, fixing up Hip's things into his closet and storing away old things he didn't need. Iruka had classes that day and had invited him for dinner at his place, which Naruto gladly accepted. If there was anyone in the whole village who Naruto trusted wholeheartedly, it was Iruka. Not that he didn't trust Jiraiya or Tsunade, but there was just something about Iruka that made him feel that he didn't have to hide anymore. He could cry, scream and destroy his own house, but Iruka would just hold him and smooth his hair, telling him it was okay to cry and that a man who showed his tears was braver than those who didn't. Naruto waited till it was about 7 in the evening, before dressing up and heading for Tsunade's office. It took him a whole minute flat to get there, and he found it quiet as a grave, save for a few A and B guards he spotted quickly. He could feel their gazes burning into his back, but paid them no attention as he walked down the wooden-floored halls towards Tsunade's office. He knocked on the door twice until he heard Tsunade give him a come in reply. When he entered, he found her alone, talking to Shizen, the little pet pig sitting on the floor, wrinkling her nose. Naruto noticed that the said pig had grown bigger, and he could feel its beady eyes looking at him. He glared at it, a sneer forming on his lips, eyes darkening, and the little pig gave out a frightened squeak and hid behind Shizen. "Ah! Naruto! Come, come! Have a seat," Tsunade said cheerfully. "Good evening, Hokage-sama, Shizen-san," he replied bluntly but did not sit down. "Ah, Naruto-kun! You've grown. It was as if it was only yesterday and you were but 13 years old." Shizen patted his shoulder and smiled at him. Naruto looked at her blankly but nodded in response so as not to offend her. "Well, I'll leave you two now. Good night, Naruto-kun, Tsunade-sama." She picked up her little pig and left the room in a poof of chakra smoke. Tsunade turned to look at Naruto, who looked back. "Aren't you going to sit?" "No thank you. I'll stand," Naruto said. "This will take a while," Tsunade warned. "Doesn't matter." "Fine. As you like." Tsunade sighed and then looked at Naruto seriously. "Being a hunter means a lot of things. I'm sure Jiraiya already told you what they are since you're so into the idea of being one. But it also means your identity must be kept secret." "I am aware of that," Naruto answered. "Jiraiya also told me that I will have to take up an odd job in the morning so as not to be suspicious." "Exactly. And I'm giving you the job of being my personal secretary." Naruto frowned at what Tsunade said. "At first, I considered you becoming a teacher in the academy, just like Iruka, but then, you know how the villagers are. They wouldn't want their children to be exposed to the demon," Naruto said, face blunt and emotionless. "Naruto, it's not that." "When do you want me to start?" Naruto asked, quickly changing the topic. Tsunade felt hurt at this, but hid it well. "Tomorrow. You'll be assisting me in the mission room. You should be here by 8 in the morning," Tsunade said. Naruto nodded. "There's another thing as well. You are aware that hunters travel in trios, right?" "Yes." "Well, for now, you will be doing missions alone," Tsunade said. Naruto's eyes glazed with sadness, and this did not go unnoticed by Tsunade. "The reason you will be alone for now is because we are still waiting for the arrival of your partner." Naruto looked up at her, eyes surprised and wide. "Partner? Not in threes?" "No, not in threes." Tsunade shook her head, a smile on her lips. "The reason I'm assigning you in duos is because you two will be undertaking hunts for 2 villages. If possible." Naruto was more confused. "You are aware that we have close ties with the sand, right?" "Yes," Naruto said, frowning. "Well, they now have a new Kazekage. She just became it a few months ago." Naruto raised an eyebrow. "Does the name Temari ring a bell?" "Yes. She's Gaara's sister," Naruto said. "I don't understand." "Well, Gaara is going to be working with us in a week. As a transfer shinobi." Naruto said nothing, since he did not know whether to feel annoyed or pleasantly surprised. "Gaara is going to be my partner?" "Yes." Tsunade frowned. "Does it bother you?" "No. I'm just surprised that such a thing is possible. We're in a close alliance with Sand, so such things are possible. Plus, Temari the Kazekage comes to me for advice in running the village." "I see." Naruto nodded. "Fine with me. I have no problems. I will be assigning you missions that deal with criminals from the bingo book once Gaara gets here. He'll be here in 3 days. For now, you can start with the measly ones. Here's your mission for tomorrow." Tsunade tossed Naruto a scroll, which he tucked away in his pocket. "Oh, and here's your hunter mask and uniform. Unlike the A and B units, hunters don't have a specific mark. Oh, and your codename will be Akaitsum. Congratulations. You now have 2 lives. Naruto accepted the package and gave Tsunade a respectful bow. Thank you for your time. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night, Hokage-sama. Naruto turned to leave, and as he did so, Tsunade felt sadness wash over her. Naruto, wait! Naruto stopped and turned to look at her, but was surprised when he found himself enveloped in a tight hug. His eyes widened, but he didn't stop Tsunade. Naruto, be careful from now on. When she let go, Naruto gave her a long look before a small hint of a smile graced his lips, and then he was gone. Naruto knew that being the Hokage's secretary and filing mission reports was going to be boring. However, he did not expect his first day to be rather interesting in a twisted sort of way. He was busy writing down notes and stacking folders when the first few jounins entered to submit their mission reports. Thank you for your report. Here's your new mission assigned by the Hokage. Naruto looked up when the person did not take the mission scroll from his hand. He came face to face with a familiar face that he did not know whether to hate, or love, or miss. Kakashi stared blankly at him, mouth agape under his mask and hands suddenly trembling. Behind him were equally surprised other jounins like Sasuke, Shikamaru, and Lee. Naruto-kun! Lee cried out and gave him an energetic hug and head nod, and all the while, Naruto winced since his now short hair was being ruffled. Good to see you. You're finally back. Wait till Gai-sensei hears this. How have you been? When did you arrive? How come you never came over? I must insist you come join me for lunch. It's been a long time. Naruto, my good friend, how have you been? I've been all right. I came last night. I didn't come over because it has been a tiring trip. Lunch would be great. I've been fine. Naruto answered and offered Lee a small smile. Lee was not fazed by Naruto's change, because somehow, he expected it. Ah, reunions are so troublesome. Good to see you, Naruto. Shikamaru said, giving him a lazy grin. Same goes here, Shikamaru. Naruto said, giving him a polite nod. Naruto flicked his gaze to Sasuke and Kakashi. For a moment, seeing the two of them standing side by side, Naruto felt bitter hatred grow in him. He remembered how Kakashi paid Sasuke more attention and never even so much as glanced in his direction. Sasuke actually stepped back, seeing the dark look cross Naruto's features, whereas Kakashi merely stared in utter bewilderment. Naruto masked his raging emotions and told himself that this was his former teacher and former teammate, and he should be polite. Uchiha-san, Hataki-san, pleasant to see you again. Lee frowned at the formality but said nothing. Shikamaru studied Naruto's face, then flicked his eyes to Kakashi and Sasuke and quickly came up with the same conclusion Irika had. And Naruto? Sasuke finally blurted out, before his lips curved to smirk. Finally decided to come home, huh? Naruto gritted his teeth and forced a smile, only it came out as a sneer. Yes. Surprising, isn't it? The sneer carried so much malice that Sasuke's smirk was completely wiped off his face. Naruto turned his eyes to Kakashi, and sat back on his chair, taking the folders from Shikamaru, Sasuke and Lee and stamping them before checking a list and handing them their assigned scrolls. So, Hataki-san? How have you been? Pleasant, I assume? Lee frowned even more at the hidden meaning under Naruto's words and tone, and gave him a disapproving look. No matter how angry Naruto was at Kakashi, he was still an older person and deserved some respect. But Lee knew what went on between Team 7 and their teacher. He spent years listening to Guy blurt out his worry over his rival and friend whenever the name Naruto came up in any conversation. Lee also knew and saw that Kakashi was feeling guilty for how he treated Naruto. But Naruto didn't know that. You could say that, Kakashi answered. Lee took his cue and ushered Shikamaru and Sasuke out of the mission room, leaving Kakashi and Naruto alone. Lunch is on me. Don't forget at 2. I'll come by, okay? Lee called out from the door. Naruto gave Lee a small smile and nodded. Sure. I'd be honored. Once the mission room door slid shut, leaving Naruto and Kakashi alone, Naruto turned his stormy sky blue eyes at Kakashi, and the small smile on his lips turned into a sneer. Here's your new mission, Hataki-san. Kakashi took the scroll without complaint. Naruto, we need to talk. About what? Naruto asked, sorting out the folders and making random checks and numbers on them. When Kakashi gave no reply, Naruto looked up at him blankly. What happened to you? Why are you like this? Kakashi asked, not liking the serious Naruto before him. Where's the cheerful and happy Naruto of before? I have no clue what you're talking about, Hataki-san. Kakashi slammed his fists on the table, rattling the contents of it. Naruto was unfazed by it. Don't call me that, Kakashi snapped. Naruto stood up and glared at him. You're no longer my teacher, Hataki-san. He then smirked. I don't think you ever were in the first place. Kakashi stepped back, feeling desperate and suffocated, and swallowed the lump growing in his throat. Hokage-sama wants you to undertake that mission as soon as possible. She said you may have 3 companions of your choice to go with you. I'm sorry, Kakashi whispered. She also left you a message, saying that your last mission's report is still overdue, Naruto added, stamping a folder and adding it to the mucked-up pile beside him. Are you listening to me? Kakashi demanded. No, I'm not, Naruto snapped back. I have a lot of work to do, Hataki-san. If there is something you want to say, it can wait till later. I've waited for years, Kakashi said. I've waited for years to apologize. Naruto said nothing. Do I mean nothing to you? Naruto froze in his movements for a few seconds, then looked up at him. Did I ever mean anything to you? Kakashi only looked at him sadly and guiltily as he watched Naruto's eyes storm even more. In it, he saw the sadness and years of loneliness that he knew was there, but never really paid it any attention. Did I? Naruto asked again. For the first time in decades, Kakashi felt like slumping on the ground and crying his guilt out. Kakashi could literally hear his heart shatter and pain fill him. Naruto continued to stare at him with a blank expression but sad and angry eyes. Minutes ticked away, and they just stared at each other. Kakashi just couldn't make his tongue move to form words, nor could any air escape his throat for the normal breathing function. Naruto gave him a smirk before turning away from and resuming his work. Just as I thought. It's not like that, Kakashi reasoned. Naruto, listen to me, he said sternly, giving Naruto his most authoritative tone. And do what, Naruto asked, not bothering to look up at Kakashi. Can't you see I have work to do, Hataki-san? If Hokage-sama. Hokage-sama? Kakashi asked incredulously. Since when did you start referring to her with such formality? Finds me slouching about, listening to you while getting no work done. You always called her Baba or Ba-san, Kakashi hissed. I will lose my job. And I do not. Stop it! Kakashi finally snapped, violently pushing aside the folders in front of Naruto, and holding his face in between his hands. Stop! Just stop! Don't speak! Don't say a word! Kakashi dipped his head when Naruto suddenly stiffened. Please! Hataki-san? Stop calling me that! Kakashi snapped again, and stared deeply into his eyes. Just then, Tsunade entered the mission room and found Kakashi in the very position he was cupping Naruto's face. Tsunade blinked at the sight but said nothing and took her seat. Kakashi dropped his hands and turned to look at Tsunade. Hokage-sama, may Naruto have the day off. I understand that he just arrived yesterday. If you may allow me to spend some time with my student. Of course. Go on, Naruto, Tsunade said, waving her hand and motioning him to get going. Thank you, Hokage-sama. Kakashi gave Tsunade a polite bow, before taking hold of Naruto's sleeve and tugging him along. Naruto obediently followed, but just before the door finally slid shut, he threw Tsunade his most heated glare that made her shiver. They stood at the bridge where Team 7 used to gather when they were still together. Naruto was staring at the flowing water, angry and annoyed at the same time. Kakashi was standing opposite him, face sad and guilty. I clearly remember what you said before you left, Kakashi said. Really? Naruto said, turning to face him, expression impassive. You never even told me where you were, Kakashi added. Didn't I now? I'm sorry. Are you? I should have been more. Should have been. Kakashi turned to face him, eyes filled with anger. Why are you treating me like this? Like I hated you? Like I never cared? Like I'm worthless? Like I'm a monster? He demanded. Why? Naruto looked up at him, eyes growing sad. He then gave him a small smile that made Kakashi forget that he was angry. It was like the old Naruto, albeit matured. It was like a veil was lifted and his true personality was finally visible. Naruto's smile was a sad one, but it was a smile nonetheless. He leaned against the railing of the bridge and continued to look at Kakashi. Now you know how it feels to be me, Naruto said, turning his back to Kakashi and staring at the waters. His hand came up to his blue Chunin shirt and his fingers caressed the ring attached to the necklace Tsunade had given him years ago. How does it feel? Naruto's eyes widened. Kakashi had his arms around him, face leaning against the back of Naruto's neck. You don't know how much I've regretted not saying anything before you left. Naruto felt his eyes harden, but something inside him was shattering. He felt warmth surround him, like ice being chipped away by fire. He was by no means a virgin. Being with Jiraiya tended to have its side effects. He was experienced with the arts of sex, but this warmth was something he had never felt before. Like he was protected. His eyes slowly drooped closed, but he snapped them open again and gently pried Kakashi's hands off him, before walking down the path towards his apartment. He needed to think. Naruto? Leave me, he said, walking down. No. Kakashi appeared in front of him and grabbed him by the shoulders. I let you slip through my fingers before, I'm not doing it again. He touched his forehead to Naruto's and closed his eyes. Just tell me you forgive me. Naruto narrowed his eyes and pushed him away. Why don't you put yourself in my shoes and then try to forgive your teacher for treating you in such a way? Think you can? I'm sorry, but it's not that easy, Hataki-san. Don't call me that. I'm not close enough to you to call you on a first-name basis. He snapped back. Then let me be, Kakashi whispered. I do care, Naruto. Do you? Naruto asked sarcastically, eyes hardening so much it sent volts of shiver down Kakashi's spine. Do you care? It sounds more like guilt to me. I am guilty, Kakashi said, pulling his mask down. What more can I do? Years I've waited for you to come back. Years I've tried to know where you were. Years, Naruto. 6 years? Maybe 7? Naruto asked, shrugging. I'm sorry. I can't see how that levels up to Naruto stopped. To what? Kakashi asked, narrowing his eyes in curiosity. Nothing. Naruto whispered and turned away. Kakashi's face was imprinted in his mind, forever haunting him. It always was. He cared for Kakashi more than he'd ever admit to himself. Which is why when he was away, he tried to hate him, to chance his care to hate. It's complicated. What is? Kakashi asked, sounding resigned. He faced Naruto. You don't hate me, he said, searching sky-blue eyes. You're trying to hate me. One thing Naruto really did hate about Kakashi was that he read him like an open book. Only in the previous years, he just chose to ignore him. But when Kakashi really looked deeply, he could figure him out easily. Don't make this harder than it already is. Just leave me alone, Hataki-san, Naruto said in a begging tone. Both of us will just end up getting hurt. I don't hate you, Kakashi said. I thought about a lot of things. I paid Sasuke more attention than you because he was the remaining heir to the Uchihas. I too have the Sharingan, and I was the only one who could teach him its ways. Naruto said nothing to that. But I didn't hate you. I was just occupied. And I'm just moving on. I have my own life now. I don't dwell in the past. Naruto whispered. Itachi is after Sasuke. Naruto's eyes widened, fear filling his dilated pupils as his limbs trembled. All at once scenes flashed before his eyes. A hand gripping yellow strands of hair, lips close to his ear, sneering teeth, angry eyes, hands moving down to his neck, fingers gripping his stomach area tightly, blood trickling, words haunting him. Angry red eyes. Kakashi placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder and peered at him with worry. Naruto shivered a bit and turned away. I'm going home. Naruto? What? Naruto snapped. Do you understand what I just said? Kakashi asked. He knew he pushing it, but that fearful look that crossed Naruto, like death was choking him and laughing at him, was something he had never before seen on Naruto's face. Itachi is after Sasuke. They will come for him. Naruto knew it was a lie and said nothing. He knew full well that Kakashi saw his vulnerability. He knew that Kakashi saw his weakness. He's not after Sasuke, Naruto said, a cold gust of wind blowing against him. Like an omen. He was never after Sasuke. Kakashi leaned his head back, a slightly feeling of triumph coming over him. He's after you. Naruto turned to look at him. You'd do well to keep away from me, Hataki-san. You're a wise man, you know what's good for you. Are you threatening me? Kakashi asked, amused and slightly pissed at the idea. No, Naruto said, and for the first time, Kakashi saw something else glisten in Naruto's eyes. Something that he saw in Asuma's eyes when he spoke of Kurenai, or when he looked at her. And it was directed towards him. I just want you to stay alive. As he turned to walk away, Kakashi caught his wrist. Eternity would have passed, and they'd still be in that position. I want you to live. Finally, he pulled his wrist free and began walking home. I already am. Kakashi whispered and stared at the sky above him. I already am, Naruto. Naruto did not head back to his apartment, but towards the Hokage's office. Just as he was about to take a turn down the hall, Lee came face to face with him, approaching from the opposite side. Naruto! I can't believe you forgot our lunch date! Lee cried out, fisting his hand and looking at him with a sad and fiery expression. For as long as Naruto could remember, Lee was the only person who could carry off the sad and fiery expression at the same time. He remembered practicing it in front of the mirror when he was stuck in the inn in the water country for a few days. That was before he was taken away. Naruto rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. Sorry. I just went for a walk. Lee gave him a look, knowing that he was lying and was covering up for something. Oh well. Glad I found you. Come on. I'm starving. Teaching kids physical exercises has made me hungry. What are we having anyway? Naruto asked, and raised an eyebrow when they gave him a wide grin. Oh, Naruto said, eyes wide as he stared at the generous spread on the table. You're paying, right? I don't mean to sound thrifty, but I haven't got my pay yet. And this is quite. Naruto couldn't even think of a word to describe the spread before him. He had so many to choose from. There were stir-fried noodles, honey-roasted chicken wings, fried rice with vegetables, dumplings, steamed buns, crab soup, grilled salmon, barbecued beef, deep-fried shrimp and fries. Plenty. Is it? Lee asked, rubbing the back of his head with a sheepish smile on his lips. Well, Guy-sensei heard of your arrival, and he insisted that I order these. See? He even gave me a list. Lee produced a yellow, palm-sized piece of lined paper with a list written by Guy himself. Naruto merely smiled. Looks like Guy-sensei hasn't changed. Which reminds me, Lee said, snapping his fingers. Guy-sensei apologizes that he can't join us now. He said he'll drop by you once his mission is done. Mission? Naruto asked, picking up his chopsticks and helping himself to some rice on his plate. That's all right. It's very nice of him to give me a rather colorful welcome. I insist you try the crab soup. It's really nice. As the meal progressed, Lee told Naruto endless stories of his students in the academy. Lee had become a jounin but worked as an academy physical ed instructor. It was a rather bland job, but he enjoyed training the children in the taijutsu that seemed to be lacking in majority of the youngsters. So far, all had been going well for the past 4 years for Lee. According to him, being a jounin was pretty much like being a chunin. Only you had more command, more responsibilities and got the high-ranked missions. Of course, skill is useful too, you know, Lee said, picking up a dumpling and biting it. Naruto lifted his glass of fruit juice and took a sip. How is everyone, Lee? He set the glass down and took some more rice. Everyone? Lee blinked, then a sad look glazed his face. It's been difficult, Naruto. Everyone is having a difficult time. You know that organization Akatsuki? Naruto felt his blood freeze and he accidentally dropped the chopsticks he was holding. Yeah. I've heard of them. Lee sighed. Well, they've been rather troublesome. Neji and Sasuke are ANBU second-in-commands, while Shikamaru, Kiba and Shino are part of another team. They've been assigned to missions involving troubles caused by that organization, and it's been really bad. They returned barely even seeing what's in front of them. On more than one occasion, Neji returned in a coma, while Sasuke was barely breathing. Are they still functioning as ANBU? Naruto asked, curiosity piqued. Yes. Even after all that happened, none of them quit. They keep trying to bring the organization down, along with its affiliates. Lee said. I've encountered one of their members 2 years ago. Lee looked at his plate, a sad look gracing his face. If it weren't for Kakashi-san coming in time with Guy-sensei, I would have been done for. Naruto stared at his food. I see. But other than that, I guess everyone is fine. Hinata is working as a medic in the hospital along with Ino. Sakura and Chuji are teaching in the academy while Tenten has a team of genins assigned under her charge. Everyone pretty much drifted apart. They all have their own lives now. He then grinned. Sakura and Shino are engaged to get married. Shino is going to resign his position as an ANBU member within this year, or so I heard. They're getting married next spring. Naruto felt a smile tug at his lips. That's really nice. I'm happy for them. Yup. It's the gossip of the month. Oh well, year actually. Lee shrugged. Naruto gave him a smile, feeling happy in seeing his old friend and taijutsu practice partner. Lee had grown his hair and now sported a ponytail and longer bangs. Gone was the ultra bowl haircut, and his face had matured quite nicely, giving him high proud cheekbones and almond-shaped eyes. Even the thick eyebrows didn't look as horrible. Lee actually looked sweet. It's been a while, huh? Naruto said. Lee's eyes softened and he lifted his glass, staring at the orange liquid. Yeah. Naruto began to poke his food around his plate. Everyone miss you, you know. Naruto didn't reply. Especially Sakura, Sasuke, and Kakashi-san. Naruto stiffened. Sasuke went moody for quite some time, and every time your name popped up, he'd go mad. Sakura cried for as long as I could remember. Kakashi-san was, well, I don't know. He sounded and looked rather lost and depressed. At least that's what Guy-sensei told me. It was for the best, Naruto said, his hand reaching for the ring around his necklace from under the fabric of his shirt. There were things I needed to find out for myself. Did you find them? Lee asked, looking up to look him in the eye. Naruto continued fingering the ring from under his shirt. He then clasped it tightly. He wanted to understand what his father saw in Konoha. That was the reason, right? Naruto's eyes darkened with emotion. Lee watched him silently. Naruto thought about why he left. No, it wasn't because of his father. It was not because of training either. Did you find what you're looking for? Lee asked again. Naruto removed his grip from the ring. I don't know, he said sadly, looking up at Lee. I don't even know what I'm looking for. Lee merely looked at him as if he'd grown a second head. Funny, isn't it? I'm looking for something that I don't even know. Lee shook his head. No. It's not funny at all, Naruto. He gave him a wide smile. Maybe what you're looking for is just waiting for you around the corner, any? Naruto was about to ask Lee what he meant by that, but Lee called the waitress for dessert. Short sword strapped in place, Naruto did another double check to make sure he had all his gear. He had reread the mission scroll several times. According to it, there was a group of wanted Nins residing by the mountains right after the border of the Fire Country. It wasn't a far journey, and with chakra-induced speed, he'd get there in about 20 minutes flat, or maybe even 10 if no trouble occurred. He checked his short swords, kunais, and shurikens along with the other essential tools he needed before lifting the feline-like porcelain mask to his face and securing. Then he was soaring across the roofs of Konoha under the pale crescent moonlight, until the village got smaller and smaller. Within the mission scroll that he had already memorized was an enclosed map. He scouted the area and found no traps or any form of genjutsu. He located the camp almost immediately, and he found it quiet and peaceful, the sound of light, sleeping breaths reaching his ears. He took out 3 shurikens and placed all 3 in a triangular position around the camp. He knelt before one and did several quick seals with his hands. A chakra glowing light formed the triangle, its corners being the 3 shurikens he positioned around the camp. The glowing blue chakra light then turned into black shadows streaked with silver that soon became blades. Moonlight Shadow no Jutsu, Naruto whispered, and the blades slashed through his targets. Just as he was about to disengage the jutsu, he heard a loud yelp, then a gasp. Flesh being torn echoed in the night, but there was something different. Something that did not sound like flesh being ripped. He turned his head to the source of the sound and found a child, maybe 9 or 10, staring as the camp turned into a bloody mess. Naruto's eyes widened. He did not know there were children. He was not told that, and before he could do anything, one of the shadowed blades came for the numb child and blood rained. Naruto felt the warm trickles covering his face and hair, blue eyes wide with shock. The jutsu faded and the night was silent. He stood up shakily, mask in his hand, and made his way to one of the tents, the beige and gray fabric stained red from the blood. He shakily reached for the tent's fabric and pulled it away from the bodies. Eyes of a woman holding 2 children stared back at him, black and wide, unseeing and pained. Beside the woman was man staring blankly at the sky, blood trickling down his mouth. Naruto felt his heart quicken as he moved to another tent and found another family, and then another, and then another. Shocked and trembling, his mind switched off as his subconscious took over, doing the routine of a hunter: analyze, kill, get rid of evidence. An hour before the sun rose, the area was clean and the bodies taken care of. He headed for home, the smell of blood thick in his nose and the taste strong on his tongue. Once inside the safety of his apartment, his subconscious switched off and he realized the horror of what he's just done. True, most of the men in camp were wanted Nins with the death signal on for all hunters, but they were family men. They had children. My first kill, Naruto said, staring at his shaking gloved hands. He covered his face with it, staining his pale cheeks with the crimson liquid. He began to shiver with cold, his lips trembling and eyes stinging. And I'm covered with a dead child's blood. He sobbed and gave out a loud cry as he rocked himself back and forth, the horror of his work finally sinking in, and he fully understood that being a shinobi also meant being a murderer. Naruto woke up with his neck feeling numb. He found himself leaning against the hallway wall, clad in his hunter suit, mask beside him, still coated in dried and crusty blood, his cheeks stained with tear tracks and dirt from using an earth-based jutsu to regrow plants over the once bloody camp. Naruto winced and sat up, stripping off his clothes quickly and tossing them into his washing machine. His hands were shaking again, and the tears were now falling once more. He filled the washing machine with water and poured the entire box of detergent powder into the spinning mass of clothes and stood there, watching the water turn red, naked as the day he was born. His stomach began to act up and he rushed for the bathroom and began to vomit the contents of his stomach. He was at it for at least 20 minutes until he had nothing to heave out but stomach acid. His face was flush red and he reeked of dirt and blood. He turned the hot shower on and climbed into the tub, and knelt under the hot spray. The water that dripped off him turned pink, and he felt sick once again. He gagged and coughed out nothing but saliva. With shaking fingers, he reached out for the bar of soap and began to scrub at his body furiously along with his scalp and face. The water was burning him, but he couldn't care less. He didn't want to smell the child's blood on him. "Get off me!" he hissed, scrubbing. "Get off me! Get off me!" He shrieked desperately until he couldn't take it. He trembled and cried again. He refused to accept that a young child died in his hands, and not just one, but more than a dozen. He reached for the tap blindly and turned the cold shower on, and remained kneeling under the spray, cowering from the world. He didn't know how long he remained like that, but he knew that he was late for work. And pretty soon, Tsunade would worry about the mission and his state, and most probably send Jiraiya to check up on him, or maybe even come down herself. He reached up for the tap and turned the hot water on and cold tap off. His skin that was tinged blue from the cold then began to glow pink from the heat. Naruto subconsciously heard his front door open and close, and footsteps come down his hallway. "Naruto?" His subconscious whispered the name Irika. The bathroom door swung open and the shower curtain was pushed aside roughly. "Oh God!" Irika gasped and reached for the tap, shutting it off. "Naruto! Naruto!" he yelled, standing up and grabbing towels from the closet and tossing it around Naruto's trembling frame. With hidden strength, Irika managed to lift Naruto out of the tub and carried him to the bedroom. Naruto stared up at him, his vision swimming. Irika's concerned face was looming over him. "Cold," he whispered, and then his eyes drifted shut. Irika began to panic. Naruto was trembling from the cold, yet his body was burning hot. "You fool!" he hissed, and tossed a robe over his body, tying the belt in a simple double knot before pulling the yellow blanket over him. Which idiot would give himself a fever other than you is a mystery. Once he had Naruto covered and tucked into bed, he rushed back to the academy to excuse himself from his duties. He had come by Naruto's place before classes started to drop off some breakfast he made. He did not expect to find bloodstains on the hallway wall and him in the bathtub hiding from the world. Once at the academy, he found someone to do substitute for him, and then darted off to find Tsunade. He reached Tsunade's office and thankfully found it empty from other people. "Hokage-sama!" he gasped out, panting. "Irika-sensei?" Tsunade looked up, blinking at the sight of a half-wet and panting respectable teacher. "And Naruto is sick," he managed to choke out. "What?" Tsunade asked, standing up. What happened? Is he hurt in any way? Wounds or cuts?" "No, he's just sick. He's burning up badly. But I can tell that anyone with that temperature is his Hokage-sama." Irika didn't know what to say. He was desperate. "Help him, please," he begged. "Come with me," she said and strode out the door. She instructed her office guards to find Jiraiya and tell him to come to Naruto's apartment. When they both reached Naruto's apartment, Naruto's breathing was rapid and he was soaked in sweat. Tsunade touched his forehead and gave out a loud curse. "How did you find him?" "He was in the shower, and the hot tap was on," Irika answered, looking at Naruto with worry. Naruto's eyes suddenly snapped wide open and he bucked. He twisted and fell of the bed. "Naruto!" Irika gasped and knelt before him, but Naruto was already running for the bathroom. Once in the bathroom, he knelt before the toilet seat and began to vomit his liquids out. Irika pushed his hair back from his face and rubbed his back as Naruto gagged violently. Tsunade couldn't comprehend why Naruto was suddenly so sick. His stomach was already empty, and he was still vomiting. For now, there was nothing she could do to help Naruto. He needed to get rid of whatever nausea he had first before she could try any chakra healing. But then there was nothing to heal physically. Him vomiting was, from her point of view, something that was related mentally. If there was any physical assault, the Kyuubi's chakra always took care of it in a few hours or sometimes even minutes. Naruto gagged violently once more and continued to heave out liquids from his mouth. Irika was silent but had a very worried expression on his face. It was then that Tsunade saw the bloody stains on the hallway wall, and then she began to get a few ideas on why Naruto was the way he was. Several minutes later, Naruto was relying on Irika's hold on him, otherwise his head would have fallen into the toilet. He was shaking and breathing heavily. Minutes passed and there was no more gagging. Iruka helped him up and guided him to the bed, just as Jiraiya entered the front door. Tsunade motioned for him to be quiet as she mixed some medicine into a glass of water and helped Naruto drink it by lifting up his head. Soon, Naruto was deep asleep, but still breathing heavily from his fever. Iruka began to clear up while Tsunade headed for the living room to speak with Jiraiya. Is he sick? Jiraiya asked. Nothing caused by any outside factor, except perhaps the extremely long shower, Tsunade said. It's more mental than physical, she added, and found Naruto's gear soaking in soapy water in his washing machine in the laundry room. It must have been the mission then, Jiraiya said, a thoughtful look on his face. He must have seen something that he can't accept. Tsunade then understood. Must have been the targets. It was a light mission. She then threw Jiraiya a dirty look. You did tell him that hunters are literally brutal assassins, didn't you? Of course I did, Jiraiya hissed. Tsunade frowned. He knew it was. But there are things that just don't sink in until you've finally done it or seen it. Jiraiya narrowed his eyes at Tsunade. You were not expecting this, weren't you? No. I wasn't, Tsunade said and approached Naruto's room. She did a few seals and held her hand above his chest, the light glow of chakra surrounding Naruto. Tsunade closed her eyes and focused on healing the young man until minutes later, Naruto was lying peacefully asleep, fever gone. Iruka was watching with awe as Tsunade healed Naruto. Leave him for a while, Iruka. I suggest you get some rest yourself. Tsunade knew that Iruka was running around the house clearing up everything. I will stay with him for now. Come back tonight to keep him company. As much as Iruka didn't want to leave Naruto, he couldn't defy the words of the Hokage. Yes, Hokage-sama. With a light dip of his head as a bow, he left Naruto's apartment. 2 or maybe 3 hours later, Naruto woke up to the setting sun, the orange glow making his room look like a hearth was glowing somewhere in the room. He was not feeling cold, but warm and clean. His throat was itchy and his stomach was hurting. An explosion of red flashed before his eyelids and he quickly shut his eyes, turning his head away. What did you see? Naruto sat up, placing his hands on his face. I didn't know, Jiraiya. Jiraiya nodded. Of course. It was your first mission. Tsunade was in the kitchen preparing some tea. Jiraiya saw how pale and sickly looking Naruto was. What did you see? Naruto stared at his blanket-covered legs. Blood. It was a simple mission. To kill off notorious bandits wanted by the village. But... Jiraiya watched Naruto's lower lip tremble. Naruto stared at his open palms, imagining it was dripping with red liquid. But what? Jiraiya asked. But they had children. Naruto whispered. I killed young ones. Maybe 8 or 7-year-olds. They don't even know what hit them. What jutsu? Jiraiya asked. Moonlight shadow. Naruto whispered and brought his hands to his face. I killed children. And women. They were family. Jiraiya cast his glance on the ground. He had warned Naruto and also opposed his choice in becoming a hunter, simply because he feared something like this would happen. Naruto was way too kind to accept such things, but it was his decision and anyone who knew Naruto knew that his mind could not be changed once he had set his sights on something. No amount of convincing or warning that Jiraiya made change Naruto's mind. It's the job of a hunter, Jiraiya said. You chose this, you deal with it. Tears leaked out of Naruto's eyes. There are no words or actions that I can do that may bring you comfort. They are dead. That was your assignment. This is the life of a shinobi. What would my father have said? Naruto asked. Seeing his son like this? Killing a whole group mercilessly with a mass-destructive jutsu that he developed? He'd be disgusted. He would have understood. Jiraiya snapped. Don't make assumptions, Naruto, because everyone, all Hokages from the 1st up till 5th, are killers too. Being a ninja means being a killer. Your father knew that, and for the safety and security of the village, he stained his own hands with blood. You are not the only one to go through such a thing. It's always for the village, isn't it? Naruto asked, gritting his teeth. It's always for the village, Jiraiya said, and placed a hand over Naruto's clenched fists. But your father saw something in this village worth protecting. What? Naruto asked bitterly. What did he see? Because I swear I don't see it. Jiraiya stood up and headed for the door. He saw your mother carrying you in her womb. Naruto remained on his bed, staring at the ceiling blankly. Tsunade had left him some medicine to help with his nausea and long ago left with Jiraiya to attend to her duties. His apartment was dull and quiet, the skies now a calm evening gray, slowly turning into blue velvet. He had his arms spread in the bed, his body free from any form of clothing, the cool evening air pouring from his window making the curtains dance, caressing his tanned skin. Family, huh? He whispered, narrowing his eyes a bit and sitting up, bringing a hand to his face. I'm not like you, father. I'm like you, I am hated and despised. Me having a family, let alone a lover, would be an absolute godsend. He stared at the necklace hanging around his neck, the symbol of a Hokage, and his father's one ring and heirloom. I can't be you. He shut his eyes. I can never be you. He stood up and pulled a plain white robe from his closet and threw it over his body, heading for the living room and flopping down on the couch. He threw an arm over his head, lips parting slightly. He felt like crying, he felt like tearing his hair out, he felt like running away. But it was a coward's way out, and bringing shame to his father's grave was the last thing he wanted. What do I really want? He asked himself. Sitting alone in the middle of his repainted living room, he couldn't answer his own question. The same question that had nagged him for as long as he could remember. A tired sigh escaped his parted lips when he felt a presence approaching his door. It was familiar, and it was also someone he's been trying to keep distance from. As if on cue, a knock sounded from his front door. Tiredly, he stood up and tightened the robe around his frame, and approached his front door. A mass of silver hair and a masked face greeted him. Hataki-san? He said quietly, staring into his eyes with no emotion, as usual. Kakashi's jaw clenched at the name. Naruto. He answered in greeting. The Hokage requests your presence. Is there a problem? I don't know. Best you go and find out yourself, don't you think? Kakashi said, voice sounding a bit sarcastic. She couldn't find someone else to send for me? Naruto asked, narrowing his eyes. He knew she should keep his mouth shut, but his day has not really turned out to be a nice one, and getting a summon from Miss Hokage was not his cup of tea, especially at a time like this and in the state he was in. It had to be you? I shouldn't have said that. Can't stand the sight of me, huh? Kakashi asked, hurt glazing his dark eye. He turned his back and began to walk down the hall. The Hokage is waiting for you. Best if you hurry. Naruto felt guilt well up in him. He may dislike Kakashi, but bashing him because of his bad day was not nice either. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. Kakashi stopped walking. It's been a bad day. Kakashi remained standing still, his back to Naruto. Are you all right? You look a bit pale. I'll be fine, Naruto said. I'm sorry. This time Kakashi did turn. He stared at Naruto for the longest time before smiling at him. Then he began to walk away. Naruto shut the door and got dressed, before making his way to the Hokage's office. You seem to have regained some of your color, Tsunade commented, while Naruto stared at her with cold and annoyed eyes. Tsunade had to swallow the lump in her throat. She was so used to the bright and dancing blue eyes that the sight of the ones in front of her was just too intimidating. Feeling better? I'm fine, Naruto answered flatly. This couldn't wait till tomorrow? No, actually it couldn't, Tsunade said, standing up. Send him in. She called towards her door. Naruto quirked an eyebrow and waited. He felt no one approach the door other than the two usual A and B guards doing their watch duty. But there was someone there, like a faint beat of chakra that he somehow knew and understood. It was almost like his. The door opened, and a black-clad shinobi, with a white scarf around his neck, walked in. Naruto immediately recognized the mass of wine-red hair and sea-green eyes. You're here early, he said, not showing his surprise. Tsunade did say 1 week later, so he feeling puzzled that Gaara showed several days earlier than the designated day. I thought you said 1 week. Well, Tsunade shrugged, smiling at Gaara. I trust all your papers are already sorted. Shizen did brief you of Konoha's rules, didn't she? Yes, she did, Gaara said in his deep baritone voice. Thank you. He dipped his head a bit in respect. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Well, this was a very different Gaara from when they were youngsters. He seemed more tame and less of a savage killer. Welcome then, he said rather flatly, but he gave Gaara a small smile, which Gaara returned. Tsunade's mind was doing a dance of whooping joy to see the two getting along quite well. Somehow, deep down, she knew they would. I've arranged for Gaara to live with you. You do have spare rooms, don't you? Tsunade asked, in which Naruto nodded in reply. Good. Gaara will be an exchange shinobi and will be receiving a job of mission distribution handling, much like yours. Like you, he is a registered chunin, but we all know that is just a cover-up. I will send your mission to you tomorrow morning. Details will be enclosed within the scroll. Gaara, I trust you already know what to do. Yes, Hokage-sama, he answered. Any questions, Naruto? Tsunade turned to Naruto. No. Naruto said. Good. Dismissed. Naruto guided Gaara to his home, both of them traveling via the rooftops of the Konoha buildings. Gaara was quiet in their journey back and didn't speak until Naruto showed him his room. Well, this is your room. Mine is right next to you. Bathroom is over there. Do whatever you want with this room. I have a feeling we're going to be together for quite some time, Naruto said, as Gaara set his bag down. You live alone? Gaara asked, unzipping the bag and taking out a plain, sand-colored shirt and loose gray cotton pants. You expected someone to want to live with me? Naruto answered, turning around as Gaara changed. Even though they were both male, Naruto respected A's privacy, and he didn't want to make Gaara feel awkward. I would have thought that by now you'd have someone, Gaara said. What gave you that idea? Naruto asked, leading Gaara to the living room. He took out cans of soda from the small fridge in his kitchen and tossed Gaara one. Everyone can so easily love you, Gaara said, pulling the ring of the can open and taking a long sip. Somehow, Naruto did not expect Gaara's words. You're just warm, I guess. Naruto smirked. Sometimes I wish it was so. You know how it is. Having something inside you and everyone being scared. That never stopped you before, Gaara said. You're different now. Naruto threw him a blank look. Oh? It's called growing up. Peachy. Gaara began to swirl the contents of his can by tilting it from side to side in his hand. I don't see your gourd anywhere, Naruto said, when it suddenly began to get too quiet for comfort. Too big and noticeable, Gaara said. Don't you need your sand? Naruto asked. I do, Gaara said. But I don't carry a bulky thing anymore, he said. My sand is in the bedroom. Naruto didn't press the matter further. You hungry? Gaara didn't answer, but he did turn to look at him with his black-lined eyes. I'm not much of a cook, but we can grab some takeout. Takeout is fine. Naruto woke up the next day to find Gaara exiting the bathroom, fresh and showered. He was a pale boy, with a dark maroon towel wrapped around his waist, body lithe and firm. There was a faint trace of sandalwood as Gaara mumbled a morning greeting to him, and walked past him to get to his room. The young man never slept, that was understood. But he did look well rested and not as if he was suffering from a hernia or anything. That was how Naruto remembered him when they were young. Maybe then, the power of Shikaku had been too much for him to handle. Maybe he's improved greatly, Naruto whispered to himself as he rinsed his hair free from shampoo. A few minutes later, he was out of the shower and dressed in the traditional blue Chunin uniform. There was no trace of the old Naruto when he wore his uniform. In fact, he looked so different that the only thing that would remind people that he was Naruto was his cheek marks and blonde hair. When Naruto came to the kitchen, Gaara was sitting on one of the stools, looking at his cup of hot milk. I didn't know you drank milk, Naruto said. It was just not the drink that came to mind when he thought of Gaara. Gaara was more of a coffee or sake person. But milk? Milk was for someone like Iruka. Or maybe even someone like Kiba or Shikamaru. But Gaara? You don't seem like the milk person. It's good for you, Gaara answered, stirring the hot milk in his cup. You sure you don't want to have something with that? Naruto asked. No, Gaara answered. Naruto mixed himself some coffee and began to stir the contents of the cup. Only then did he notice that Gaara's Chunin uniform was not navy blue like his, but actually black. The flak jacket was present, but he noticed that he couldn't find the gourd Gaara used to carry on his back. Naruto didn't ask any further questions. He didn't want Gaara to feel like he was being nosy. A few minutes later, they headed for the mission room to do their morning jobs. All shinobis were informed of Gaara's arrival, along with his purpose in the village, which is why for the next few days, none of them said anything or treated him differently. Naruto later found out that they were under strict rules under the Hokage to treat Gaara as if he were a comrade. Some went all out in being perky and pleasant, some even gave him welcome presents, mostly from the female body, while others said nothing. But Naruto saw the fearful looks they threw at the young man when he wasn't looking, and how some, like Sasuke and Sakura, threw him looks of pure hatred. Naruto knew that Gaara knew, and yet he showed no reaction. Naruto never brought up the topic, nor did he press the matter of why Sasuke and Sakura hated his guts. Apparently, they were mad at him too. Naruto had clearly avoided all forms of gathering or engagement that did not involve anyone else other than Iruka, Lee, Tsunade or Jiraiya, and sometimes Shizen. Several weeks had passed and he never went to properly greet Sakura or Sasuke, his former teammates. He was once slapped by Sakura across the face because he was being serious about his work. Sakura had cried then, and Shino had apologized on her behalf for the way she acted, but his tone was tight and slightly forced, with a hint of understanding behind it. Sasuke had nearly thrown the mission table out of the window when he couldn't take it anymore. And the fact that they later on found out that Gaara was living with him when on several occasions they asked him and Naruto never answered only fueled their anger even more. "They're being childish," Gaara said, walking home after another day's work in the office. "They can't handle the fact that you're back and distant. It's too risky to get close to them again," Naruto mumbled in reply, as they turned and began to climb the steps to the apartment. Once inside the confines of the apartment, both retired to their rooms to change. They received their mission days ago, but it was not to be carried out till the coming weekend. So until then, they had free time to kill. Naruto came out in a pair of black pants and a plain green shirt. He was about to check what they could have for dinner when a familiar chakra came to his senses. There was a knock on the door. Gaara went to answer it and Naruto knew that trouble was going to sprout. "What?" Gaara asked, staring at the pair at the door. "Where's Naruto?" Naruto sighed. It was Sasuke's voice. He knew that this would happen sooner or later. No matter how he ran away or tried to avoid getting into a situation like the one happening now, he knew he had to face them. Gaara was about to retort, knowing full well that Naruto did not want to talk to either of them yet, but was stopped when Naruto patted his shoulder. Gaara took his cue to leave the three by the door and headed for the kitchen where he began to boil some water. "What can I do for the both of you?" Naruto asked, looking at the two of them. "We need to talk," Sakura said quietly. Naruto was about to complain. "I'm not leaving until we do. Please. What's an hour or even just 20 minutes of your time?" "I have to make dinner," Naruto said stiffly, clinging on to his last hope of escape, but he knew that it was a futile try. "Whatever. Come on," Sasuke said, giving the interior of his house a foul look before turning to go down the hallway. "I'm waiting, Dobe." Naruto remembered the childish nickname that was born of childish rivalry. He briefly wondered if Sasuke still felt that rivalry. His long ago died when his greatest fear was born. He couldn't care less if the whole village thought him useless and pathetic. He had something he wanted to do before it was too late. It just needed a bit of time and planning. "Fine. Wait here a second," Naruto said and turned to grab a jacket from his room. "I'll be going out for a while," he told Gaara. "Should I bring some takeout?" "No. Don't bother. I'm not hungry," Gaara said, mixing some milk powder and sugar into a cup. Naruto gave an affirmative nod and left the apartment with his two teammates. Just a few days living with Gaara told him that Gaara liked to say that he was not hungry, but he actually ate in the middle of the night. He'd still bring something home. They were in a quiet bar. Sasuke had ordered some pickled radish and light sake for the three of them. Naruto simply ordered himself a glass of juice. He didn't hold his alcohol well and had never liked the taste of sake. He remembered once during his long trip away from Konoha, he had gotten completely smashed and ended up executing a deadly jutsu on Jiraiya out of blind fun due to the alcohol. Luckily, Jiraiya was able to put him to sleep with a sharp neck jab. Otherwise, Jiraiya would have seriously been injured. Naruto stared at his drink, Sakura and Sasuke sitting opposite him. Sasuke had already downed a cup of sake, most probably to loosen a few tight nerves. Sakura was just looking at him as if he was her long-lost love. Naruto smirked at that thought. Sakura hated his guts, and to have her looking at him this way, Naruto simply wanted to pick up the plate of pickled radish in front of him and chuck it on her head. He hated them both. Silence reigned for a few more minutes. Naruto was getting a bit tired of it all and ordered another juice. "Are you going to talk, or are we going to sit here and watch each other breathe?" he asked, eyes narrowing so dangerously that even Sasuke straightened a bit. Sakura was about to open her mouth, but Naruto spoke first. "Just to let you know, Uchiha-san, that the table that you nearly threw out the window a few days ago earned me the longest lecture from Hokage-sama. And as for you, Haruno-san, if you're here to apologize for the slap, save your breath. I don't want to hear it." Sakura glared. "I am not going to apologize for that. You deserved it." Naruto downed his glass of juice. "Perfect. Now that we've settled what we gathered here for, let's call it a night." Sasuke's fist came into contact with Naruto's jaw. There was a loud sickening crack. Naruto saw the punch coming, but figured that just to let Sasuke shut up, he'd take the punch openly. It was starting to hurt like hell. A few of his teeth might have come loose from the impact. He would have to check and see later. "Sasuke-kun," Sakura said, surprised and holding him back. "Shut up. He deserved that," Sasuke snapped. "Come on." He grabbed Naruto by the collar and dragged him out of the bar and towards the outskirts of the city. Sakura had to quickly pay the bill before following the two young men. Sasuke had dragged Naruto towards the place where they used to train as youngsters while Naruto allowed himself to be pulled along. Naruto landed against the bark of a tree rather painfully, the sound of his back creaking as bone joints shifted reaching his ears. "You son of a bitch!" Sasuke shouted. Naruto said nothing. He dusted himself off and got to his feet, cracking his neck from side to side and rubbing his sore jaw. It was already bruising a bright purple with a blue tinge to it. Sakura arrived just as Naruto was standing up and she gave a little gasp when Sasuke started speaking. 7 years, you idiot. 7 fucking years and not a word from you. You go away, without even telling anyone. Now you're back, out of the blue, working and treating us as if we didn't even know you? What are you trying to prove? Huh? Tell me, Sasuke demanded. Naruto narrowed his eyes coldly and stared at Sasuke, hands by his side. You didn't even speak to us. Not a greeting or anything. That was the least, the very least, you could have done. He's right, Naruto. A simple hello, I'm back, would have been all right, Sakura said softly. Sorry, Naruto said. But I'll keep that in mind so next time I go away I'll remember to say hello when I get back. Sasuke punched him in the stomach this time. Sasuke-kun! Stop it! Shut up! Sasuke snapped and picked Naruto up. Do you even care? About us? About what we've done together? Sasuke narrowed his eyes. About me? Let go of my shirt before I hit you, Naruto said. Yeah? Sasuke asked, glaring and pinning Naruto to the tree. Did you even improve at all? You spent so much time running away from your problems here that you probably forgot what being a shinobi is all about. Naruto narrowed his eyes at what Sasuke said, a boiling anger growing in him. Sasuke-kun, Sakura said in warning, seeing the dark glint growing in Naruto's eyes. Let go of my shirt before I hit you, Naruto said again. Spent so much time chickening out that you could only reach Chunin level. What of being Hokage? Forgot about that? Like you forgot about us? You're a coward after all. You will never know what it means and what it takes to be a shinobi. Sasuke-kun, that's enough, Sakura said, voice hardening to make Sasuke stop. Sasuke let go of Naruto's shirt and took a step back. Naruto, please. She pushed Sasuke away and stood in front of him, taking his hand. Can't we start anew? What of the old times? When we did missions together? When we were still a team? Does it mean anything to you? Sakura asked, eyes brimming with tears. She felt hurt at Naruto's attitude. She missed his pranks, loudness and Sunshine's smile. Now he was just someone totally different. Naruto took his hand away gently. Haruno-san, Uchiha-san, he said, and straightened his clothes. I will say this only once. He looked at them both directly. The life I left here 7 years ago is now nothing but a memory. I have a new life now and I see you two not as my teammates but as professionals in the field. You, Uchiha-san being the well-known ANBU member and you Haruno-san for being the well-respected teacher. Nothing more. I've moved on and I expect that you two have also. So that's it then? Sakura asked, tears trailing down her cheeks. We mean nothing to you now? Just plain colleagues that pass by you in the halls every day? Sasuke was already gritting his teeth. Naruto was silent for a moment, but his expression betrayed nothing. Yes. Bastard, Sasuke said. You're a bastard. Sasuke led away a crying Sakura, not turning to look back at Naruto. Naruto watched them walk down the path back to town. He didn't bother calling out to them or apologizing like he would normally do. He let them go. He let them judge him by what he just said. He would have a negative image from that night forward, but he couldn't care less. In the end, if anyone died, it would be less painful, right? Days began to fly by and Naruto was getting less sleep. He was starting to get used to his missions and whatever injury he may gain in the field now took time to heal due to his body suffering from fatigue. He was frequently getting nauseous and was slightly pale looking. Gaara had forced him to take multivitamins and stress tablets that he asked Shizen for, but they weren't giving pleasing enough results. Naruto set the last folder in the box beside him and began to pinch the bridge of his nose. He was very tired. He'd been coming home after every mission vomiting his guts out. It was almost like a ritual now. He firmly believed that humans, criminal geniuses or not, were still humans in the end. They still had some form of good in them. It could be anything ranging from feeding the pet cat or goldfish they may have at home to nurturing a growing plant. Not everyone was pure evil. Maybe even Orochimaru had some good in him. Then again, Orochimaru was technically no longer considered human due to his ability to use other bodies as vessels to live in. He was already dead anyway, killed by none other than Sasuke himself. Naruto was quite surprised when he heard of it a year before his return to Konoha from Jiraiya. He gave out a tired sigh. The office hour is now over. So far, he and Gaara had accomplished roughly about 6 minor missions and about 8 difficult and hardcore ones. Naruto had respect for Gaara, who could stand all forms of stress and just not get tired. He envied him in that way. Whereas for himself, Naruto felt pity. Jiraiya was right. He chose to be what he was at the moment. He was going to have to deal with it. You alright? Gaara asked. Just a headache. Clear up, will you? I'm going to use the bathroom. Gaara gave him a nod as he padded out of the room towards the men's lavatory. He went about his business and washed his hands, tapping his cheeks with cool water. His vision was getting a bit blurred and he really wanted to sleep. It would have been all right if he slept for a while, but even his dreams were plagued by the killing he'd done and by angry red eyes. Naruto closed his eyes for a while and grabbed the edge of the marble sink to prevent himself from falling. He sucked in a shaky breath and headed back to the mission room. Late again, Gaara said, and Naruto instantly knew whom he was talking to. Sorry. A bird ate the last one I made. Naruto felt a smile tug at his lips. He remembered those excuses. Once it was the cat ate the report I made. He even remembered his infamous excuse of getting lost in the road of life and a black cat crossed my path, so I had to use another route to avoid bad luck. Naruto shook his head and wiped the silly smile off his face and entered the office to help lock up. Another one of your excuses, Gaara said, clearly not amused because he got the yelling at the end of the day for all late reports. Same thing went for Naruto. Can't you ever be on time? Sorry. But I do try, Kakashi said, shrugging. Naruto entered the room, giving Kakashi a polite greeting. Good afternoon, Hatake-san. Yo, Kakashi said, though it was a bit forced and hard. Late again, I presume? Naruto said, arranging his pen into his drawer. Yeah, well, the pigeon who took the first one really liked it. Said something about the ink being tasty. Kakashi said, I curved in his happy-go-lucky way. Naruto couldn't stop the smile from reaching the corners of his lips and only realized it when Kakashi was staring stupidly at him. Naruto turned his back to him, now facing Gaara. Gaara was looking a bit amused about the whole situation. He was actually smirking. Well, next time Naruto pinched the bridge of his nose to shoo away the onslaught of nausea and brain-racking migraine. Make sure you tell the pigeons to bug off. We get the yelling at the end of the day. Yes. I'll tell the pigeon, Kakashi said, waving a hand. He then peered at Naruto. You alright? Fine, Naruto said. He looked at Gaara and sighed. Let's go. I'm tired. Should have slept in this morning, Gaara whispered, as the three of them left the mission room. Naruto stood close to Gaara, his headache getting worse and worse. His vision was getting blurry and everything seemed to double then triple. He blinked it away to clear his mind. Only when they were finally in the open field in front of the gates did he start to feel too light for comfort. Damn, he whispered, and stopped walking. Gaara peered at him cautiously, while Kakashi turned to look behind him to see what was going on. Hey, Gaara whispered, Kakashi already approaching them. I'm fine, Naruto said, giving Gaara a reassuring look before squaring his shoulders a bit and continuing walking. Only when he took roughly about 5 steps did his world finally go black. Gaara saw it quicker than Kakashi did, but he chose to stand rooted to the spot and left Kakashi to do the catching. Kakashi caught Naruto's torso and ended up kneeling on the ground and holding Naruto's head securely in his arms, giving his shoulders some support with the use of his kneeling position. I knew he wasn't feeling well, Kakashi hissed. He's too tired out. He looked up at Gaara. And I don't think it's from paperwork. Gaara's face betrayed nothing. Whatever. Hand him over. I'll take him home. No, Kakashi said. I'll take care of him. He won't like it, Gaara said. I'm warning you. What would you know? Kakashi asked, anger gnawing at him. He never really liked or fancied the idea of having Gaara living with Naruto and being close to him nearly all the time. In fact, he downright opposed it. But he heard from Iruka that Gaara was a rather nice boy and was organized. He even heard that Gaara kept Naruto in check. It pissed him off so bad that he was tempted to punch the redhead squarely in the face. Birds of a feather, Hatake-san, Gaara said. But that's beside the point. If you really cared, he wouldn't have left. Kakashi narrowed his eyes. Gaara was crossing roads he was never meant to cross, and Kakashi began to wonder. Was there something between Gaara and Naruto? You know nothing. Stay out of this. I'll take him home when he's better. Fine. Do whatever you want. I'll lose my job if I put up a fight with you. But I warn you, he won't like it. Gaara turned to walk away. One more thing. Do anything stupid and I won't hesitate to kill you. You wouldn't, even if your life depended on it. Kakashi retorted back. You'd be surprised, Hatake-san. You'd be very surprised. Gaara said and left. Kakashi muttered a few curses under his breath and carried Naruto to his apartment. Once inside the safe confines of his warm house, he settled Naruto on the bed, gently propping the pillow under his head and removing his sandals and flak jacket. He stowed them away carefully and returned to cover Naruto with a blanket, but stopped midway. His eyes strayed to the necklace hanging out of Naruto's turtleneck. He knew that it was the necklace owned by the first Hokage and he knew its value. But that's not what he was gaping at. It was the ring. The ring that he knew so well because he had gotten an imprint of that ring on his face once a long time ago when his teacher had punched him during training. Almost in a daze, he reached out to lift the ring so that he could take a closer look. His fingers gently touched the smooth surfaces, taking in its shape and contour. A million questions zipped through his mind. It was when he felt the sharp sting of his hand being slapped away that his eyes settled on Naruto's narrowed blue ones. Naruto had the ring tightly around his hand, which he quickly shoved under the collar of his turtleneck. Where did you get that? Kakashi asked slowly. Why do you ask? Naruto said, sitting up. Just answer the question, Kakashi snapped. Naruto blinked at the reaction and began a silent debate within himself. None of your business. Naruto made movement to sit up, but Kakashi pinned him down on the bed, leaning over him and pressing Naruto's hands down on both sides of his head. Answer me, Kakashi hissed. Please, he added softly, looking away. Naruto swallowed. It was left behind for me, that's all I'm going to say. Kakashi turned to look at him and stared deeply into Naruto's eyes. Then he knew it. It was like looking at an old photo, only there was a softer touch. Like more cream in coffee. Naruto was a spitting image of his teacher and mentor. But something about him was genuine and surreal. Not even the Force eyes were this vibrant and this intense. And he never noticed. You're oh god. Kakashi whispered, and then he felt horrible. He didn't even know what to feel, and all he could do was bury his face in shame in the hollow of Naruto's neck. Kakashi remained like that for several long minutes, mask and hair bands still in place. I'm so sorry. Hatake-san? I didn't know. I should have. You look so much like him. Kakashi pulled back and stared into Naruto's eyes, releasing his hands and supporting himself with the help of the mattress rather than Naruto's wrists. Forgive me. I can't live with the idea of you hating me. I couldn't. Forgive me, Naruto. Naruto stared at Kakashi's sad and pleading eye. Then he just did what first came to his mind. He propped himself up a bit and gently touched his lips to Kakashi's, the feeling of the soft silky fabric of his mask tickling his lips as he kissed the older man. When he pulled back, Kakashi was zoning out. He was not expecting that, and it had definitely caught him off guard. Naruto turned his head away and slowly sat up, sliding himself away from Kakashi and standing up from the bed. He made his way towards the door, but Kakashi gripped his wrist, stopping him before moving to stand in front of him. Kakashi pulled his mask down. Naruto stared almost olishly at Kakashi's smooth and alabaster features. The scar running down his eye didn't even seem bad at all. He was indeed handsome and had very appreciating looks. Kakashi gently traced a finger down Naruto's cheek and made the boy face him. He didn't even say anything but leaned forward and pressed his lips to Naruto, gently kissing him. He gave Naruto's bottom lip a sensual lick before pushing his tongue into his mouth. Naruto let out a little whimper but soon had his hands resting on Kakashi's neck and kissing him with equal fervor. It was not something Kakashi had hoped would happen. Nor was it something he would have ever thought would happen. But for some strange reason, he suddenly understood that he had fallen hard for Naruto, ever since the boy left. Desire devoured Kakashi and Naruto, and soon their hands were all over each other, roaming, touching and searching. Kakashi leaned lower and began to suck on Naruto's neck, while Naruto placed his hands on his shoulders and leaned back, a groan escaping the back of his throat, causing a shiver to run down Kakashi's spine. A large red mark was left screaming on Naruto's neck. Kakashi moved back up and pressed his lips against Naruto once more, both breathing hard and groaning in unison. Somehow, in the middle of it all, Kakashi managed to pin Naruto against the wall as they continued kissing. Naruto's hips were grinding against Kakashi's while the Jounin's thighs rubbed against Naruto's. It was a series of hot, lustful movements full of burning desire, all mashed up to one puddle of goo. Oh god! Naruto gasped as Kakashi's hands slid past the waistline of his pants. Stop! Kakashi paid no heed. Stop! Naruto hissed louder. Damn it, I said stop! Naruto shoved Kakashi off him. Kakashi stared at him, a bit surprised, all feelings of lust suddenly vanishing. No. Not yet. I can't. Naruto ran his fingers through his hair. I have to go. Naruto, wait. Kakashi grabbed him and held him. I'm sorry. Naruto looked at him for a long moment before turning away. Me too. As the door closed, Kakashi briefly wondered if Naruto was sorry for the moment of lust kiss or just sorry because Kakashi and he could never be. Either way, Kakashi felt a dull ache in his chest. And it wouldn't go away. Naruto entered the apartment he and Gaara now shared and found Gaara sitting on the couch, reading a mission scroll. Another one? Naruto asked. Not your regular one. More of a rescue and assassination, Gaara said, tossing Naruto the scroll. Location is not far. An hour away from here almost. We have to move tonight. Naruto read the contents of the scroll, eyes growing wide by the second. An entire ANBU unit is being held in captivity? Read further, Gaara said, taking out a bottle of water from the fridge. Sasuke. Neji. Shino. Naruto whispered, eyes slightly darkening. It doesn't say who we're up against. Did she tell you? By she, he meant Tsunade. Yes, Gaara said. The minor members of Akatsuki are holding them. Maybe 4 or 5, the details are not clear. But they're Akatsuki minors. Naruto knew better. Minors usually meant someone within the skill level of Kakashi or Guy. They were people not to be messed with at all. We'll go. We have to bring those ANBU back. Gaara said nothing. But Naruto knew that Gaara would follow him. They crouched behind the pile of rocks, seeing the entrance of a cave that led to some sort of tunnel. According to the information they had, the tunnel would lead to the headquarters lying several feet underground. Naruto had memorized the map by heart, and so had Gaara. The gaping hole below them that had stone steps was not the only entrance. There was another way, and shinobis who got that information returned to Konoha barely breathing. We'll go through Route D, Gaara said. It is less used and less guarded. Right. Naruto nodded, tightening the mask around his face. Let's go. They made their way down the rocky edges and got away from the site nearing the entrance. They made their way to the river, wading down silently, the water barely even rippling with their skilled stealth. As they neared the sudden plunging gorge that led to deeper waters, both stopped and studied their surrounding for a while. It's risky, Gaara said. We don't have a choice. Gaara nodded at Naruto's words as they both positioned their hands and performed a basic underwater jutsu that was common to all shinobi. They dove silently deep into the gorge and made their way around the sharp rocky edges. There were skulls that littered the rock surface, with weeds and green muck attached to the smooth white surfaces of the bone. There were dying sea corals and little fish that seemed to resemble a parasite rather than a fish. They swam around the rocky gorge, and then began a quick descent. A small hole, large enough for a person to wedge through, greeted them. They paused and eyed it for a few brief seconds before making their way in. The tunnel required them to stretch their hands out and pull themselves forward by grabbing the rocky surfaces. It soon began to ascend, and after a few minutes, both surfaced to open air. They found themselves in a cave of some sort. They made their way to a corner and pulled themselves out, breathing getting back to its normal functions. Gaara gave the place a cautious look, before nodding towards Naruto, head tilting to the general direction of a hole in the wall. With quiet and trained footsteps, they made their way towards the hole, climbed into it, and began to crawl through a narrow passageway. Voices suddenly became clear and they found themselves peeking down into a long hallway with several doors. Towards the left side, the metal doors looked fancy. Naruto remembered the map clearly, and the last 4 doors were the offices, while the other dull-looking doors with thick padlocks and chains along with incantation tags stuck on them were used for holding prisoners or hostages. Gaara signaled with swift movements of his wrist that there were a grand total of 7 people in the place, 2 of which were in the office area, for right below them, standing guard upon the doors, and 1 was outside by the entrance. Naruto signaled him to take care of the 4 while he tackled the ones in the office. Gaara took out the pouch of sand from his back pocket and poured some onto his palm. Almost gracefully, he blew the sand towards the area below them, the light golden grains drifting down. Naruto watched as Gaara disappeared in a swirl of sand, while the sand that was but half a palm full was suddenly multiplying. Shouts of surprise and desperation began to fill the silent corridors. Naruto turned to look away, as the sickening crack and squish of the sand killing the 4 below him echoed in the corridors. Naruto dared not underestimate the ones guarding the door. They merely had their guard down. Naruto and Gaara didn't become Tsunade's prized hunter pair for nothing. But to Naruto, It was pure luck that Gaara managed to catch them off guard. He leapt down and crept towards the office area. Gaara had disappeared down the hall to take care of the last person by the entrance. Trusting Gaara, he went about his own task. He pushed the first door open and found the room empty. He cautiously looked around and stood in the middle of the room, keeping his senses wide open. He looked for a mistake, a clue, a sign. He snapped his eyes open at the slight movement of his opponent, and pulled out one of his short knives and flung it at the general direction to where his said opponent was hiding. He pulled out the other one and leapt in the opposite direction, dodging several long needles flung towards his throat. The walls suddenly turned into ice. Narrowing his eyes, he flipped to one side and charged quickly from behind the person that was controlling the ice. He gave the person a sharp kick on side, the sound of cracking ribs reaching his ears. Footsteps rushing towards him alerted him. He turned, just in time to block a swishing attack of a long sword with one of his short ones. His opponent looked fairly old, maybe around his mid-30s, with long brown hair streaked with a little gray. His amber eyes were burning, blood running down his cheek, caused by the sword that Naruto had flung towards him earlier. The other one was lying on the floor, unable to move one side of his body due to the broken ribs. Naruto was surprised that he didn't suffocate yet. "You!" his opponent hissed. Naruto pushed aside the long sword with his short one. His eyes flicked up briefly. He delivered a powerful kick towards the man, who blocked the impact of the sole of his boot with the blunt edge of the sword. Naruto flipped in the air and delivered a devastating kick on the side of the man's head, before using his other leg as leverage and pushing him back with another kick, just in time as Gaara pulled out one of his short swords from his position in the doorway. The man's back came into contact with Gaara's sword, instantly dying as the base of his spinal cord was cut off by the blade. Gaara emotionlessly pushed the man aside, flicking his blade to get rid of the blood before sheathing them. "Where are they?" Naruto asked. "Inside," Gaara said, jerking a thumb behind him in the general direction of the other doors. "I'll get them." "Right," Naruto said, and approached the person lying face down on the floor. He knelt beside the gasping person and pushed him so that he was lying on his back. The person was wearing a black mask, much like what Kakashi wore, along with the long black cloak that most Akatsuki members seemed to favor. Naruto took out a kunai and prepared to slit the throat of the man before him. His eyes opened slowly, staring at Naruto's masked face briefly. He began to choke, as his eyes widened. "Don't kill me. Don't w1tt. A gasp of pain came out of the masked face. Naruto blinked behind his mask. He reached out with his other hand and pulled the black mask down. He found himself staring at the person, all senses suddenly going numb. His lungs suddenly stopped working and his heart froze in mid-beat for a second. It was like thinking back to a memory. A memory that forever nagged him and sometimes haunted him in his times of solitude, and even in battles. "They're waiting outside. All 5 are unconscious and with clones," Gaara said from behind him, approaching him and staring at the now unconscious person. Gaara's voice snapped his mind to work properly again. He sucked in a shaking breath and calmed his rapidly beating heart. "We'll need another clone," Naruto said, looking down the figure. "We're taking him with us." Gaara did not question his decision and simply called up another sand clone to help lift the unconscious body as they made their way swiftly to the exit. Naruto burned the area and made sure that the entrance was caved in with thick tree roots with the help of a simple earth-based jutsu. Once they reached the borders of Konoha, Naruto stopped. "Take him home," he said, gesturing to the last figure in the arms of the sand clone, the trademark cloak of the Akatsuki organization now soaked with blood. "I'll handle these." He gestured to the 5 unconscious ANBU, and his eyes strayed towards Sasuke. Gaara gave an affirmative nod as Naruto called up 5 shadow clones to replace the sand ones. He and Gaara parted ways, as Naruto pulled up the hood of his cloak over his mop of golden hair and headed for the private sector of the general hospital, where mostly ANBUs and sometimes the occasional hunters were taken for treatment. Shizen was on duty along with Tsunade that night. "Swanda-sama is waiting for you in room E52, Akatsum-san," Shizen said, bowing politely to Naruto's masked and cloaked figure, while medics took the unconscious ANBU forms onto stretchers and wheeled them away to separate rooms to begin treatment. He gave Shizen a polite nod and headed for the room where Tsunade was waiting. Upon entering the room, he noticed Tsunade staring out the window, a pair of bloodied gloves on a metal tray along with some scalpels and blood-soaked cottons and antiseptics beside her on a stainless steel table. "Where's your partner?" "I sent him home," Naruto said. Tsunade turned to face him. "Jiraiya saw you at the borders on his way back from the hot springs." Naruto did not like where the conversation was heading, but he stood his ground. "Your mission stated retrieving 5 ANBU members. Not 6. Naruto refused to speak, and merely continued staring at her from behind the mask. Who is the sixth person you brought back? Silence. Give me time, Hokage-sama, Naruto said. I assure you that I would never bring danger to the village. That's not what I meant, Tsunade said, narrowing her eyes angrily. Who did you bring back? 3 days, Naruto said, taking his mask off and allowing Tsunade to see his pale and rather haunted face. Give me 3 days and I will tell you. I request that you let Gaara take leave from work to keep an eye on. He thought of a word. Our guest. Guest? Tsunade said rather sarcastically. The safety of the village is at stake here. Who did you bring back, Naruto? She demanded. Naruto felt all blood drain from his face at the thought of the person waiting in his house with Gaara. Someone who I thought died a long time ago. Kakashi. The effect of his thoughts were almost immediate. He felt boiling anger rise in him. Tsunade frowned. Who? Naruto stared up at her, suddenly looking much older and so very tired. Please, he said. Trust me. Swanda inhaled. 3 days. I will let you and Gaara take the day off. After 3 days, I expect to hear from you and possibly see this person. Do I make myself clear? Crystal. Naruto placed his mask back on and disappeared in a swish of mighty wind. Tsunade stared at the spot to where Naruto was standing, and despite her reaction to Naruto earlier, she was proud of him. It was a wise decision to send him on this mission after all. Naruto entered his apartment and found Gaara already out of his hunter outfit and now sterilizing equipment with antiseptics and hot water. The thick curtains of his apartment windows were all drawn close and an illusion jutsu surrounded the place. Naruto could feel the slight unsteady beating of Gaara's chakra bouncing off the walls. Gaara didn't even look tired, but the unsteady chakra said otherwise. Naruto knew that Gaara was overworked, much like himself, but it couldn't be helped. They were hunters. Naruto pulled his gear off and changed into different clothes quickly before washing his hands in antiseptic and pulling on some rubber gloves. He then headed for the storeroom made into some sort of clinic where the figure was lying stripped off from all forms of clothing, naked and pale under the white light glowing from the light bulbs hanging from the ceiling. Gaara appeared seconds later, with all medicines and antiseptics ready. 5 broken ribs, a concussion and minor cuts in both arms and forehead, Gaara said, and pulled on a pair of rubber gloves. Breathing is stable, Naruto said. He took a good look at the cuts on the figure's chest, the broken bones out of place, and causing the skin to have uneven bumps. He should be dead, Gaara said. He's not, Naruto answered, injecting antibiotics and anesthesia into the pale body. He hasn't been all this time. Gaara gave Naruto a long look before beginning the tedious task of fixing up the body before him. As hunters, they were trained heavily under the medical field. In desperate situations like these, they had to use the other version of healing with the help of chakra and medicine combined. In this case, Gaara had to rearrange the figure's bone structure with his hands while Naruto used chakra to heal the bones. Such healing techniques consumed too much chakra, hence the minor injuries like the cuts and bruises were dealt with the traditional way of bandaging and applying medicinal ointment. Once or twice, in the middle of fixing the bone structure of the torso area, the figure bucked and whimpers of pain came from the pale lips. It was not surprising since such healing techniques did have such an effect on patients even when they were unconscious. It was too painful to handle and usually involved a huge amount of morphine given to the patient because of the aftermath remnants of the chakra healing. 3 hours later, the figure was lying on Naruto's bed, under the covers, body kept immobile by a few nerve endings that Naruto blocked temporarily. No work tomorrow, Naruto said, as Gaara sat on his bed, staying on one side. Use that time to recuperate, Gaara said, staring at the window, while Naruto lay on the other side of the bed, throwing an arm over his eyes. You'll need it. Yeah. In seconds, Naruto fell asleep, leaving Gaara to watch over him. 3 days went by a blur and Gaara was the one going out of the house to restock on food supply. Naruto more or less remained in bed in those 72 hours of blissful rest. It was not until the 3rd day, when just as he predicted, the figure lying in the next room would be amongst the living once more. Shower fresh and clean, Naruto entered the room, Gaara already speaking to the figure. Nerve endings are blocked. Security purposes. Gaara answered the question the figure asked. I see, came the quiet and raspy reply. Naruto stood beside Gaara, staring into the dark chocolate orbs of the person lying on the bed, a memory so long ago flashing in his mind. He remembered him like it was only yesterday. The fight between him and Sasuke, the water mirrors, the pink kimono and the tedious task of gathering medicinal herbs from a field in the forest were swishing in his mind like a fast-flipping picture book. "You're not dead," Naruto said, and the figure on the bed smiled. Smiled with joy and relief. "Tell me." Tsunade was not happy. Jiraiya was not saying anything. He remained quiet, leaning against the window and watched the two argue. "It was a mistake," Naruto said tightly. He didn't know Akatsuki was a complex organization. He didn't have a purpose. He was young. Naive. Why can't you see that? "Listen to your argument," Tsunade said, standing up. "You want him to stay here, as a shinobi, just because you once knew him, and thought he was dead? In case you've forgotten, Naruto, he is still an Akatsuki member. That point is enough reason to not let him stay." "He won't betray Konoha," Naruto said in a well-controlled, fury-induced voice. "How can you be so sure? You said he was taken in by minor Akatsuki members, trained him to become a mere soldier for their growing organization, and his cause of agreement was because they told him that they could bring his precious someone back? What kind of a stable argument is that? The chances of him betraying Konoha are high." Tsunade's voice was firm and authoritative. "He won't betray Konoha," Naruto said. "How can you be so sure? You're not telepathic, Naruto, with Kyuubi and you are not. What reassurance does the whole village have?" Tsunade asked. "I didn't know what I was getting myself into, and then I couldn't do anything. No matter how much I wanted to leave the organization, I couldn't. It was too risky. Your arrival just relieved me of my duties. I'm yours. I will follow you no matter where you go. I owe you my life, Naruto. Don't send me away. Please." Naruto's eyes darkened towards Tsunade. "He will not betray Konoha. He will not betray me." Tsunade stared at Naruto for a while, his voice already striking something inside her that made her believe him almost immediately. "You can benefit from him. Konoha can benefit from him. Whatever, the remains of the headquarters are now nothing but rocks and ashes. They know he is dead. Whatever threat there may be, they are small ones. But they are there. It's not convincing. He has an advanced bloodline, maybe even as strong as the Hyugas and Uchihas," Naruto said, narrowing his eyes some more. He was beginning to lose his patience. Tsunade was simply very stubborn and hard to crack. "He can make a good hunter. He will be with me always. All he needs is citizenship and possibly a new identity. Akatsuki knew him as Yuki, not by what we know him as." "We?" Tsunade asked. "It's his fault," Naruto snapped. "He killed him years ago. He even buried him. How stupid of me to fall for such a simple trick. All this time, I thought he was dead. Because I saw him die," Naruto said, more to himself rather than Tsunade. Jiraiya finally shifted and stood straighter. "Naruto," he warned, trying to get Naruto to control his growing anger. Tsunade knew of the A-rank mission given to Team 7 by mistake. She knew what happened in the Wave Country, and she also knew of what Kakashi did. Taking the boy in would be alright, as long as he takes up his old identity. According to Jiraiya, who spoke to Tsunade before Naruto did that morning, Haku was not a registered Mist Shinobi. The Mist Village didn't even have any record about a Haku being born. For some reason, Naruto's words ran far more personal than he deemed it to be. "He never told me," Naruto hissed. "Naruto," Jiraiya repeated. "Calm yourself." Naruto remained quiet for a while, eyes cold and hard. "I will consider the arrangement," Tsunade said. "He will have to be hidden for a while, and a talk with your previous teammates will be needed since they will have to get used to the idea of having him around, even with the knowledge that he's been alive." "What?" Naruto asked, snapping his eyes up and looking at Tsunade. Tsunade mentally kicked herself. Jiraiya stepped forward this time, standing beside Tsunade. "Be quiet," he said, and 3 knocks sounded from the door. The door opened and in stepped Kakashi. "Hokage-sama, the daimyo has arrived." Securities are in check, and Kakashi stopped short when Naruto slowly turned to face him, anger all over his face, and growled. "You!" Kakashi did not have time to react. In a blinding speed, the door was shut firmly with a loud bang, and his back was pressed against the hard and heavy wood harshly. His bones made cracking noises at the sudden impact, and stars danced in front of his eyes. Fingers that were gripping his collar now shifted and were around his neck. Squeezing. He gasped for breath, too stunned to even fight back against his ex-student. Choking noises bubbled at the back of his throat, and he was starting to see black spots from the lack of air. If Naruto had gripped him any tighter, his windpipe would have been human caviar. "Why didn't you fucking tell me?" he shouted, squeezing tighter. Naruto, Tsunade said, too shocked to even stop him from the beginning. You gave him a chance. He was alive. You all knew. You all fucking knew and you never fucking told me. You bastard. Naruto pushed him further up against the wall. Out of desperation, Kakashi gripped his wrists, trying to breathe, but couldn't. Naruto's eyes were a hellish red color, with slits running down the center of it. Bastard! Naruto yelled and squeezed harder. Recovering from shock, Jiraiya moved fast and gave Naruto's neck a firm hand chop, making him lose consciousness immediately. Naruto slumped to one side, fingers dropping free from Kakashi's neck. Kakashi slid down the door, fingers going around his neck as he gasped and wheezed for breath. He stared at Naruto's unconscious form, his single eye wide at what just happened. What dash? He asked, rattled and utterly confused. He felt Naruto's anger dripping like venom, and for a few seconds he felt afraid. He thought for a moment that Naruto was really going to kill him. Take him with you, Jiraiya, Tsunade said. Take him home. Jiraiya didn't even wait to be told again and disappeared in a swirl of chakra, Naruto vanishing with him. Kakashi regained some of his composure and stood up on his feet. Sadness washed over him like a huge tidal wave. The mere idea that Naruto would not hesitate to kill him and the fact that he was angry at him for reasons that he did not know rattled him. For once, all logical thought fled from his mind for that brief 5 minutes while he tried to pull himself together. He felt the intense hatred, the venomous anger and overwhelming intent to kill slap him hard that he was too shocked to even put up a fight. Not with Naruto. Never with Naruto. Naruto, he whispered, chest starting to ache. I cannot offer you any words of comfort, Kakashi. But for now, I suggest you stay out of his way. He's been reminded of a few incidents during his travel with Jiraiya that made him lose his temper, Tsunade said, and the excuse had an indirect truth in it. It was a good thing Jiraiya stopped Naruto in time before any further damage came around. Kakashi nodded and left. There really wasn't anything he could say. Naruto opened his eyes and his ceiling came to view. He sat up and faced Jiraiya sitting on one of the chairs in his living room. He glared at the man, gritting his teeth in anger. How long did they know that he was alive? He bit out. Jiraiya looked up at him, and his lips thinned. Kakashi knew from the beginning, obviously. Sasuke, I heard, found out 2 years later, and Sakura about 4 months later after Sasuke found out. Naruto was seeing everything in red. He was so angry that he stood up and began pacing. You know why they never told you? They should have. Naruto snapped. I had every right to know. They knew you'd react like this, Jiraiya said. He was used to Naruto's hot temper, and he knew very well how to handle it. He was probably the only one other than Gaara who did anyway. Not even Tsunade knew how to tackle the boy's temper. You could have gone mad. That's not the point, Naruto yelled, staring at Jiraiya with anger blazing in his blue eyes that there were slits in the sapphire orbs. It is the point, Jiraiya said calmly. They hid the fact from you because you'd flip, throw a crazy tantrum. Heaven knows what could have happened if you went mad. It was the safest thing to do. Plus, Kakashi thought it would be safer for your sake if you didn't know. What the hell does he know? Naruto roared, his anger fueled even more. I personally think that he made a wise decision. Also, neither Kakashi nor your teammates knew what happened to Haku after that. Naruto growled and clenched his fists. Your anger is uncalled for. In fact, it's not even on Haku's behalf. What the hell would you know? Naruto yelled, clearly forgetting his manners. It was never about Haku. Jiraiya pressed on. This whole issue is more to do with Kakashi rather than Haku himself. Naruto's eyes turned red towards Jiraiya, and his teeth flashed. It's always about Kakashi. You don't hate him like you show you do. I doubt you ever did anyway. I don't know what you're talking about, Naruto said, narrowing his eyes some more. Is this how it's going to be? Jiraiya asked, quite annoyed by how Naruto was reacting. I don't know what you're talking about, he said stubbornly, shouting again. Calm down, Jiraiya finally snapped. This is not a behavior for a hunter. This is not a behavior for a shinobi. For crying out loud, you nearly killed him. What is the matter with you? You should be ashamed of yourself. He was your father's prize student. God damn it! Naruto yelled and punched the nearest wall. The cement cracked and his hand went through, a hole easily made in the light yellow painted wall that separated Gaara's room from the living room. Jiraiya said nothing as drops of red trickled down Naruto's arm and fell onto the clean floor. Naruto, he said tiredly. We shinobis live in a world of death. It's practically waiting just around the corner. You once said that you'd walk down a path with no regrets. Naruto shut his eyes tightly at his words. But you're walking on one now that's filled with them. You have a chance for happiness, and for something that you've been looking for blindly in the dark. Don't throw it away. Jiraiya turned towards the front door, taking the knob in his hand. There is nothing wrong with your teammates or Kakashi. It's just you who is trying to hate all of them. Without another word, Jiraiya left the apartment. Naruto wrenched his hand from the wall and punched it again, successfully making a second hole. Frustration and hidden desperation overwhelmed him, making his knees buck as he knelt on the floor, his head touching the dusty wall. He shut his eyes, gritting his teeth and trying desperately to control his feelings. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! He hissed, thumping his fist on the wall, voice cracking as he continued repeating the word. Gaara came out from the room and stood beside Naruto, looking down at him. There was no pity, or anger or annoyance, but understanding glowing in the surface of his green eyes. Gaara offered Naruto a hand, and Naruto looked up at him, unshed tears gathering and making the blue orbs look glassy. All you can do when you fall down is stand up again, Gaara said quietly, and the barest hint of a smile graced his serious and thin lips. And like always, Naruto took his hand and stood up. Naruto was sitting on the couch, Gaara opposite him watching the night sky from the window. Neither needed to talk. Just the presence of each other was comforting enough. The sound of one of the doors opening from the hallway made the both of them look up and find Haku walking down the hall. His injuries were already long gone due to advanced healing and the fact that Tsunade passed by a few days ago after that incident in her office to take a look at him. Also, Tsunade spent a good time grilling him with psychological questions that after her sessions Haku fell asleep from the throbbing headache he got. But all in all, he'd been very helpful. As promised to Tsunade, nobody knew that he was around until all papers became official. Haku had grown to look slightly manlier rather than feminine. His eyes were more of an almond shape rather than the wide girly look he had when he was younger. His hair was still long, but he tied it in a high ponytail rather than the bun he used to when he was younger. His build was no longer thin, but more lean in a very manly way. His movements remained graceful, and although his voice was only slightly a few decibels lower, it was manly enough. He'd also been very helpful in the house. "Have you two eaten yet?" he asked, looking at the both of them, smiling. He no longer wore any bandages in his body, and had his hair tied back at the nape of his neck, and wore a pair of loose gray pants and green shirt. "Not yet," Naruto answered, while Gaara continued to look at him. "Well, there's nothing in the fridge. One of you should restock. I can prepare a proper meal instead of you guys getting takeout again." He smiled, corner of his eyes crinkling at the gesture. Naruto was about to stand and restock as Haku suggested, but Gaara beat him to it. "I'll go," he said. "Anything you need in specific?" "No bitter gourds," Naruto said, wincing. He hated that vegetable and couldn't stand eating it. Gaara didn't even bother to reply. "Any greens are fine. Some meat maybe, like beef or fish," Haku suggested. Gaara nodded and pulled on a jacket, took some money and left the apartment. Since the market was no longer open, he opted for the superstore that was open 24 hours called the Seven Leaves. He was glad the place was empty, save for a few late shoppers buying small things like ketchup or a can of beans. He walked down every aisle, and told himself that they need detergent powder. Being a hunter meant too much laundry. Plus it consumed too much soap to wash blood off their clothes. He picked a plain yellow packaged detergent powder and made his way to the can section. He took a few things, before making his way to the fresh food section. He scanned the shelves and picked out random things that he knew Naruto ate, and some things that he could digest. Carrots, potatoes, celery, bean sprouts and red cabbage found their way to his basket, as he continued scouting for more greens. He caught sight of the radishes and took a while to decide whether he should get one or not, and got caught up staring at it from all angles. Gaara. He flicked his eyes to his left, and found Kakashi standing with a basket filled with instant foodstuff. "Hataki-san?" he greeted, dipping his head a bit. "You shop?" Kakashi asked, slightly surprised at the idea of the sand freak carrying a basket filled with food. "I eat. So does Naruto," he said, and decided not to add the radishes to his basket and moved on to the eggplants, examining them. Kakashi didn't say anything for a moment. When he did, Gaara faced him. "How is he?" "He's fine," Gaara said, eyeing him from head to toe. "I haven't seen him for almost a week. He's taken a holiday." "You too?" "Report filing is a lot more tiresome than you think it is," Gaara answered before turning back to the eggplants. How is he? Kakashi asked again. I said he's fine. Gaara answered and took 3 plump eggplants. He then found a bunch of nice cauliflowers and took a medium-sized one. That's not what I meant, Kakashi said, following Gaara to the fruits section. I can't say anything, Gaara said, taking some oranges and apples and placing them into his basket. If there's anything you want to know, then go face him. I'm not a bridge. Kakashi gave a nervous laugh. Of course. Of course. Gaara debated whether to get some grapes or cherries. He didn't know which one to get because he wasn't sure which one Naruto liked. Cherries, Kakashi said, picking a nice plastic bag with plump and juicy-looking ones. Naruto loves cherries. Gaara turned to look at Kakashi, and for a moment they just stared at each other. Sorry. Gaara merely shook his head, and then stopped to stare at the fresh kiwis. Haku liked them very much, but the price was leering at him. It was too expensive. Naruto doesn't like kiwis. He says they look like donkey shit. The answer was automatic. I like them. Of course. I forgot for a moment that you two live together. Kakashi forced a smile under his mask, and took some pears, placing a small plastic bag into his basket. Gaara turned to give him a long blank look, debating whether to kick the man in the shins or just grab one of the nice big pineapples and smack him the face with it. Don't like the idea, do you? Never did, Kakashi said, staring back at him with a bored yet angry expression. Gaara was very tempted to punch the jounin in the face. Or maybe he'd let Shikaka loose one night, and just swallow him up. The guy was thick. His safety comes first. When he's with me, he is safe. Safer than he'll ever be when he's with you, Gaara said, narrowing his eyes at Kakashi. Let me tell you something, Hataki-san. Gaara shifted and narrowed his eyes even more. I would happily give my life for Naruto. I would follow him wherever he went, and I will protect him, even from you. If I ever find out that you are the cause of his pain, I will not hesitate to rip you to shreds. And that counts for anybody else in this village. Kakashi blinked. To say that he was shocked at Gaara's sudden speech was a mellow way of putting it. It's hard to trust a killer, Kakashi asked. You're a ninja. That automatically makes you just as bad. Gaara replied, and walked past Kakashi towards the meat section, asking for boneless salmon and some beef cubes. Kakashi did not follow him anymore, but went to the pasta section of the superstore. Once Gaara had everything he needed, he grabbed a pack of orange juice and some milk powder before heading to the counter. Kakashi was already exiting the store by the time all his goods were packed. He paid the lady, dipped his head in thanks, and carried the 2 bags in his arms, heading for the direction of home. He found Kakashi standing before him as he took a turn towards the block Naruto's apartment was in. You say you'd protect him, Kakashi said quietly. Can you protect him from yourself? Gaara looked at him directly in the eye, piercing him with his intense gaze. He then merely gave Kakashi a dark smile. You should worry about yourself, Hataki-san. You're not the only one interested in Naruto. He then continued walking down the street. Uchiha is too. Gaara entered the house to find Haku in an apron, chipping ice off the freezer, while Naruto collected it in a bucket. You could just melt it, Gaara said, setting the grocery bags on the counter. Naruto suggested the same thing, but any fire element jutsu could cause the freezer to malfunction. Haku said, smiling at Gaara. We're nearly done anyway, Haku said, and chipped the last chunk of ice from the corner with a thick knife. Minutes later, once the freezer was clean, Naruto began to stock the frozen goods in it, leaving some of the salmon out for Haku to cook. Haku was already cutting up some of the vegetables and preparing the broth. I'm going for a walk, Naruto said, washing his hands and drying them with a kitchen towel. Be back in an hour. Dinner will be ready by then, Haku said, smiling at him as Naruto saluted him with a finger and left. Gaara began to wash the small plates and other things that Haku no longer needed. While he was drying the place, he spoke up. How did you get to know Naruto? Long time ago. He was a newly graduated genin at that time. His duties as a leaf shinobi made us face off. He had a mission then and my master had his. It was a clash, a fight broke out, but at the end, he couldn't kill me. Kakashi was about to though, but in the end, he gave me a chance. Haku said, eyes misting over as he remembered the fight a long time ago. In battle, huh? Yes. I heard of your fight with Naruto. Akatsuki knows about it, Haku said, turning to smile at him. Looks like he got you too, huh? Yeah, Gaara said, drying a plate, while a small smile came to his lips. He is such a person that would make heads turn, and just fall in love with him, Haku said. That makes it 3 then, Gaara said. 3? Haku blinked. 3 competing for his heart. Haku gave out a hearty laugh. No. I love him as a friend, or maybe a younger brother. He then chuckled. Who's the other 2? Hataki. Uchiha. Gaara said, shrugging. Do you love him, Gaara? Haku asked. I don't know what love is, Gaara said. But I'd like to think that maybe this fondness I have for him is not what couples share. A friend then, Haku said, smiling. He is lucky to have a friend like you. Someone who understands him. Gaara shrugged. I am grateful to be called his friend. I don't need anything more. Haku appeared beside him, spoon in hand with some brown-colored sauce in it. Tell me if there's enough salt. Gaara stared at the spoon, then at Haku's smiling face. He took the spoon and tried the broth, wincing because it was slightly hot, but otherwise it tasted fine. It's good. Haku nodded and went back to finishing off the broth. It's good to have you around. Because I'm a good cook? Haku asked, smiling at him, cheeks slightly pink. That and because Naruto can actually get proper nutrition. I don't mind ramen, but an overdose of it is too much to handle, Gaara said, rubbing the back of his neck. Haku could only laugh while Gaara gave him a smirk. Naruto hopped over the last residential rooftop and began his ascent towards the roof of the Hokage administrative building. It was a rather cool night, with winter coming just around the corner. It didn't snow in Konoha, but the cold winds and rain were just as nasty. Although snow was beautiful, it was still troublesome to handle. Naruto inhaled deeply, sitting on the roof's railing and gazing at the mountain carvings. They were already working on Tsunade's, the shape of the face and hair already present. Last he heard, the statue would be completed in about 4 more months. Naruto felt himself smirking. His eyes drifted to the fourth's face, taking in its shape, his gaze lingering towards the eyes. Almond-shaped eyes, like his. They were supposed to be blue, not the dull color of stone. His hair was supposed to be gold, like the sun, not the color of stone. Naruto felt loneliness wash over him. In nights like these, when he let his thoughts wander, he wondered how his father sounded when he spoke, or when he laughed. He wondered how he would hold his cup when drinking his coffee or tea. He wondered how he ate his meal, or how his wrist flicked when using his chopsticks. He wondered what his shoe size could have been, or if he preferred eating oranges to grapes. He wondered if he slept on his side or on his back or maybe even on his stomach. Sometimes, he even wondered if his father was a prankster like himself when he was kid. Was he lazy? Was he always smiling? Did he like telling jokes? Then the bitter truth would hit him. He didn't know his father as the person that he was. Naruto brought a hand to his face, pinching the bridge of his nose. It was also on nights like these did he wish he could cry so freely. A penny for your thoughts? Naruto flicked his eyes to one corner, seeing Sasuke standing behind the railing. What are you doing here? It's a nice night. Went out for a walk, Sasuke said, hands in his pockets. Naruto nodded his head. Haven't seen you around the mission room lately. Yeah, well, I got discharged from the hospital a few days ago, Sasuke said, staring up at the sky. Got injured during a mission. Hunters brought the entire squad back. Yeah? Naruto said, trying not to smirk. Yeah. Sasuke turned to look at Naruto. Naruto. I have to go, Naruto said, turning his sitting position before hopping off the railing. It's dinner time. He dipped his head in a form of a polite parting and began to walk the other way when Sasuke's arm shot out, his hand landing on his chest, stopping him. Naruto quirked an eyebrow as Sasuke stared into his eyes. Naruto, answer me honestly, Sasuke said, eyes losing its hard and cold edge for a brief moment. Do I mean anything to you? Naruto looked at him for a long moment before bringing his hand up and pulling Sasuke's hand off his shirt gently, giving it a light squeeze before walking away. Sasuke kept staring at his back, even as he hopped down towards the lower rooftops. For now, that answer was enough. Naruto gaped at the table. You made all this? Haku smiled, pulling a chair and sitting himself. Gaara was already helping himself to some of the rice. Haku made some curry and vegetable salad. Naruto had never had such a spread on his table before, and he only ate such food when he was staying over at Irika's house, and that had been a long time ago. But to find it on his table, which was normally empty, Naruto found the sight rather endearing and somewhat heartwarming. It wasn't only the food that did the trick, but the fact that Gaara was already tucking into his plate, muttering compliments towards Haku, while Haku, in return, merely laughed and turned to look at him. Some rice, Naruto? Haku asked. Naruto, for the first time in front of Gaara and Haku, grinned. Gaara had to stop in mid-chew for a while to just stare. Haku continued smiling, glad that he emitted such a reaction from Naruto. Yeah, Naruto said, pulling a chair and sitting. Yes, please. No, one more, just a little bit more, yes, that's it, Naruto said, taking his place from Haku, who had been scooping rice onto it and setting it in front of him, the grin now a smile on his face, eyes twinkling like a child. You're smiling again, Gaara said, eyes softening as Naruto swallowed his rice. Why shouldn't I be? Naruto said, then stared at his plate, eyes not leaving it as he continued to scoop some rice with his chopsticks. I found a home in the both of you. For a long moment, there was stunned silence, before Gaara gave a small smile, and Haku looked at his own plate, a blush on his cheeks, but his face looking serene and happy. Can I have more rice? Naruto asked, holding his plate out, mouth stuffed with food. This is delicious. Haku began to laugh and took his plate, scooping more rice onto it, while Gaara, for the first time, began to chuckle. A few days later, Haku's papers were ready and he was officially a Konoha citizen. He was given a job in the academy as a field instructor. To say that Kakashi, Sasuke and Sakura were shocked was an understatement. They were busy ogling at the mere figure of Haku, who was now standing behind Naruto and Gaara in the mission room, looking at them with a smile. You're here! Sakura exclaimed. Good afternoon, Harino-san, Haku said, still smiling. When did you get here? Sasuke asked, a smirk on his face. Obviously pleased that Haku was doing well. Just a few days ago, really, Haku said, rubbing the back of his neck. Hokage-sama was kind enough to allow me to work here, seeing that I am not a registered ninja of the mist. Sakura and Sasuke nodded in understanding. Naruto-kun was also nice enough to let me stay at his place. He what? Kakashi asked, blinking and shifted his gaze to Naruto, who was now looking at him with cold and unforgiving eyes. Kakashi found himself shivering at the sight, and he remembered the eventful day when Naruto nearly choked him to death. Naruto, you're full of surprises. What else do you have up your sleeve? He said, sounding like a joke on the outside, but he meant it. Naruto did not give him an answer but only intensified his heated glare. So, Haku, are you going to take the Chunin exam? Or Jounin exam? Kakashi asked, shifting his gaze away from Naruto uncomfortably. Neither really. I'll be teaching at the academy, and I'm sure you've heard of it, Harino-san. Sakura gave a happy nod, smiling. No ninja work for me. I'd rather teach. There was silence for a moment, and only then did Sasuke and Sakura realize something. Naruto was not supposed to know that Haku was dead. Sasuke turned his eyes towards Naruto, staring at him for a long while. Naruto, how did? Thanks for not telling me, Naruto said, and turned to look at Kakashi. His teeth ground together, before Gaara's hand came to his shoulder. I'm going for a walk. Cover for me, will you? He said, looking at Gaara, who just nodded. Naruto left, without saying another word to the people behind him, and headed for the waterfalls towards the outskirts of the village. Kakashi's mind was awhirl. Gaara was not pointedly looking at him, before green eyes moved towards Sasuke's figure, then back towards his. Don't you have something to do, Hatake-san? Haku said, turning to look at Kakashi. Don't want to be late again, do we? Sasuke and Sakura turned to look at Haku with raised eyebrows. Naruto-kun always whined about the fact that Hatake-san was always a late person when he was younger. I sincerely hope that the habit has gone. Waiting does get tiresome, don't you think? He smiled at Sakura and Sasuke. Yes, in fact, there were times when we simply wanted to just leave our team's meeting point, Sakura said, rubbing her chin in thought. Kakashi did not care to what Haku was saying. There was just one thing going through his mind at the moment. Naruto remembered the old days. Well, I have things to do and places to go, Kakashi said, offering a wave before leaving the room. Once outside, he began to look for Naruto. He never would have thought that the day would come when he would curse the village for being huge. It took him a good 2 hours of searching, simply because Naruto didn't leave a trail behind him, which was another thing that puzzled him. Naruto's chakra tracks were barely even present. Even someone like Neji and Sasuke, who were expert ANBU members, did not mask their trails this well. So he had to search the long way, and before long, he found Naruto sitting on a large rock, overlooking the river, the roar of the waterfall several meters to his left, as he stared at the flowing water. Kakashi decided to approach him after a minute or two, and stopped a few feet behind him. Anything I can help you with, Hatake-san? I'm sorry. I should have told you. Yet you didn't. It was to protect you, Kakashi stated, a desperate edge present in his voice. Naruto faced him, eyes filled with rage. And have me thinking about him over and over again, wondering why I couldn't help him, stop him, wondering why he had to die. You call that protection? Damn you. I nearly went nuts after what happened then. Don't talk to me about protection, you bastard. Don't you fucking dare. Every word was a blow to him, but he stood his ground. If he had to beat the living daylights out of his thick blonde head of his, he would. Teacher's son or not, he didn't care now. It was my duty as a teacher to do